they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball, I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say, I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life, I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back, you ain't fitting for it cause you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot, wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this go up. You know it's all net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play it safe. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing, keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get dangerous, cause it can get please don't play no games with me, I promise I'm too much. Ay, I can never let up even if you had enough. Ay, this ain't for the faint of heart, we always playing rough. I had enough, it ain't luck. I needed a vision, I needed ambition, I needed a mission to beat in submission with no intermission. I see the collision, the crash in the distance ain't coming off track, no. Now when they ask what's the motive, don't talk about the show them. They all about to see what I mean in the moment. I gotta keep going, I'm shaking the dice and I'm keeping it rolling. They already know. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play it safe. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing, keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get dangerous, cause it can get dangerous, cause it can get dangerous.
All right. Peace. Love. Peace. Let's do it again. Bring it back in. A lot to talk about today. A lot of perspectives. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button as you're stepping into the building. We got a lot to talk about today, man. As you guys see, I'm coming up a little early today. Just a little bit earlier than normal because, honestly, we got a lot of things to talk about. You guys know my time is a little restricted in the evening. I got to get up out of here. At a certain time, I got to go, right? So I'm in earlier. I want to be able to cover these topics, man. So many different things to talk about today, guys. Good morning, wherever you're at. Good afternoon, wherever you're at. Shout out to everybody on the Twitter space, Facebook, wherever you're at, and obviously right here in the YouTube space. Make sure you're hitting that like button, hit the subscribe button. As well on the channel. We got a lot of interesting topics to cover today. And of course, we have a special guest that'll be stepping into the building. So, you guys know who it is. He's on the thumbnail. Love talking to him. Great build with him. Great perspective. Super transparent fighter. Just a team in general, man. Just makes it hard not to be a fan, a big supporter of Jalil Hackett, man. So we'll talk about him. We'll talk to him about his performance on Sunday on Zuffa Boxing. That was his debut on the platform. Great performance by him, but we'll leave all that to him to explain how he felt about it. How he felt about the performance, how he graded himself, and how he felt about the whole experience in general. Right? We got to talk about all those things. A lot of things in the news, man. I mean, you got Shakur Stevenson just got stripped by the WBC, which is crazy, right? In its own self. But once again, Mauricio Suleiman just seems to be on a run right now. Good business or bad business. And shout out to the thumbnail, right? Good business or bad business. The way Mauricio Suleiman is moving with the WBC, it's garnering a lot of scrutiny, clearly, right? But we'll talk about all of that, right? We've also got a pay-per-view press conference that just kicked off. Keith Thurman versus Sebastian Fundora. Good business, bad business. We'll talk about it. You guys get yourselves ready to answer on this one because I want to know how you guys feel about it as well. Good business or bad business? Is this going to sell? This pay-per-view model that seems to be falling out of style without a doubt. You got Paramount offering Zuffa Boxing at a very realistic rate, the rate of a subscription, $8.99 to $13 a month, depending on what level you've entered at. You've got The Zone, who's altered their way of doing things with a subscription. They raised their subscription, but still delivering you a lot of product, a lot of fights at what some people will call a discounted rate. But the PBC with this pay-per-view model, who knows what this price range is going to be? Anywhere from $60 to $80+ for this event. Is Sebastian Fundora and Keith Thurman delivering that kind of product that you want to see? It is what it is, right? In other topics we'll be talking about today as well, we'll be diving deep into the Devin Haney situation. Devin Haney, the money man. Can we argue that at this point? He is the biggest payday for some of the best fighters in the space. The question is, who's going to cross the line, give Devin Haney that fight? Matter of fact, is the question deeper? Is it really, who is Devin Haney going to send the offer to? Being that Devin Haney is the A side right now, right? And this is such an interesting point of conversation, because Devin Haney always fought to be the A side. He's always fought to be that guy who dictates the terms on how things happen. Always seemed to play second fiddle to a Gervonta Tank Davis. And, the argument was always out there for the detractors who would speak about Devin Haney, saying he doesn't sell tickets, he doesn't sell pay-per-views, right? He doesn't put butts in seats. But, leave it to Bill Haney to explain to you guys. He's always been the face. He's always been the trendsetter. He's always been a boss. He's always been independent. But right now, I think it's harder to argue against what Bill has been saying for years at this point. Devin Haney does seem to be the A side, and he does seem to be the guy who's going to be providing the biggest payday for a lot of fighters. But, fighters have, Shakur wants a rehydration clause. Keyshawn Davis wants to navigate the space accordingly. He wants to get a belt. He wants to bring some value to the table so he can negotiate and have a little bit of leverage to maybe get himself a better payday potentially, right? And of course, there are now Xander Zayas has joined the conversation, and that's become a very interesting conversation. I was actually on a live last night. Shout out to my brother, Frequent Flyer. You guys check out his channel. Maaki got a channel he's been doing for the past 2 months or so. Great panels up there, and the conversation became very interesting when it came to the Xander Zayas versus Devin Haney situation. We've got Bill Haney, who popped up on the Boxing Voice. Shout out to my brother Ness. Shout out to the Boxing Voice and everything that's going over there. Haven't been there in 2 days. I've been so busy in the morning. But interesting point of conversation. Even Bill Haney himself has to admit that Xander Zayas is maybe the most challenging fight they've ever been in. Tough fight, stylistic, boxer, bigger than the average opponent that Devin Haney's fought against, and all those different intangibles. So we'll dive deep into that. Great business. Devin Haney is good business right now for any fighter who wants to make some money. He's good business. If you scared of being challenged, if that's not your thing, if you think the boxing style of him not just sitting in the middle of the ring and just engaging with you is not something you want to be involved with, to a degree, it could be bad business, but it's starting to become a small argument in the bigger picture, because the reality is, on the back end of a loss to Devin Haney at this point, you're looking to make a lot of money, right? It is what it is. So we'll dive deep into that, right? Good business or bad business? Bad business. Floyd Mayweather suing Steven Espinosa. Showtime. Listen, guys, if you've been following and been in the boxing space for as long as I've been following and been in the boxing space, there's always been rumors circulating about this whole entire dynamic of Showtime, Al Heyman in the PBC, Steven Espinosa, Tom Brown. Very gray areas, those lines, very grayed out, because very difficult to kind of figure out who's who runs what, right? Who is in charge of what? Who is moving what needle? Who is liable? Who is liable if anything goes wrong with any particular situation? Well, to see or hear or see Floyd Mayweather now be in a conversation of potentially offering lawsuit to Showtime and Steven Espinosa for fights that happened over 10 years ago. I haven't done the math, but we're talking about Conor McGregor. We're talking about Manny Pacquiao, right? We're talking about some early Gervonta Tank Davis fights when Gervonta was with Mayweather Promotions. And all of a sudden, $345 million, ladies and gentlemen, bad business, without a doubt, bad business, right? We'll dive a little deeper into that conversation and see what that is all about, because at the end of the day, boxing is has such a broad landscape of avenues that we can go down. When we're talking about the business, we could talk about the fighters, we could talk about the matchmaking, we could talk about the marketing, promotion, we could talk about the evolution, the popularity, American boxing returning back to the forefront. So many different lanes. Today's lane will be about good business, bad business. And good business or bad business, Nick Ball versus Brandon Figueroa, right? Nick Ball versus Brandon Figueroa getting ready to go down in the UK on the back end of Bruce Shu Shu Carrington putting on a fight of the night, right? Fight of the night, arguably fighter of the night candidate against Carlos Castro, but more importantly, picking up 1/4 of the 4 belts, right? That WBC title puts him right in the conversation for unifications and things of that nature. What do you guys think about Bruce Shu Shu Carrington showing up to London for the winner of Nick Ball, Brandon Figueroa? Can we get a unification at 126? Are we ready to finally see that? Is 126 ready to take that move forward? I've had my eyes on that division for so long. And, you know, fighters like Bruce Shu Shu Carrington is definitely one of the fighters that had my eyes on it as well. I mean, at one point it was Raymond Ford and the Nick Balls of the game, and Nick Balls obviously right now is a champion, and just those kind of fighters, obviously the Robesis, the Rafael Espinosas, all these fighters made the division so interesting. But are we finally in a place now to where we're going to see these guys start mixing it up and unifying the division? I don't know. Maybe not, right? All those things to talk about, and of course the special guest to pop up with Jalil Hackett. I believe we also may get Bernard a little bit later, who may be jumping on the panel to build with us as well. It is what it is, right? I'm gonna ask you guys to hold the line for a second for me, guys. Guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back with you guys, man. Appreciate you guys. Yep. I'm back at it. Thank you guys for holding for me, man. Had to move around a little bit and get some things in order, man. It is what it is. So let's break it down. Let's speak on it, man. First point of contact. Matter of fact, you know what I want to talk about? Let's talk about Deontay Wilder, guys. Deontay Wilder, Derek Chisora in Talk Sports Radio. Deontay has a crazy crash out. Matter of fact, should I pull it up? Give me a second. Let me pull it up. I don't have it queued, but I don't think it should be hard to find. Let's take a look at it because, guys, this was a very interesting situation. Deontay Wilder on this road back, you know, he says he's here for his own reasons and things of that nature. But I mean, ultimately, you know, it's always been an up and down. Okay, no, I just got a text message. It's always been this thing with Deontay Wilder, you know what I mean? And for me, love-hate relationship with Deontay Wilder, because at one point we remember Deontay Wilder being one of those guys, you know what I'm saying, in the heavyweight division, especially when we're talking about American heavyweight boxing. He probably was the guy, you know what I mean? But me always having contention a little bit with Deontay Wilder's resume, right? Just a little bit of contention with the resume, you know what I'm saying? And the buildup. And when he finally got an opportunity to get into the ring, you know, I'll say the first time I saw Deontay Wilder in the light that I wanted to see him in was when he fought against Luis Ortiz, right? I was like, all right, man, this right. Okay, maybe I can start buying into this. That Luis Ortiz was a legitimate opponent for Deontay Wilder. And he knocked him out, right? He stops him, fought him twice and stopped him. So that was great. Then he rolls into the Tyson Fury fight, and, you know, a hard-fought fight. That first one, is it arguable that he knocked out Tyson Fury, right? Even though Tyson Fury got up before the 10 count, he did seem to be kind of incapacitated. And listen, a lot of other referees would have waved that fight off, right? Yeah, you know what I mean? They would have waved it off. We got to be honest. He would have waved that off. But ultimately, what did Tyson Fury do? He got up, he performed, and he ended up running that fight to a draw. Obviously, a rematch-worthy fight. They make the rematch. Tyson Fury dominates Deontay Wilder. They fight again. But I think the thing that stood out in that whole entire situation was definitely the accusations that Deontay Wilder made, right? On the back end of a stoppage from starting when Mark Breland throws in that towel. Deontay obviously not in agreement with that towel being thrown, and he wanted to go out on his shield. But all of a sudden, a lot of conspiracies started to step out the way for Deontay Wilder. All of a sudden, there was thing going on with his water being spiked by Mark Breland. All of a sudden, Tyson Fury's, manipulating things with his gloves. Even gotten to like egg weights in his gloves, things of that nature. Rumors were circulating that maybe people were complaining about the suit he wore and being a little too heavy. Maybe took his legs out from under him. All these different things. All of these different things that he brought up. And I think that definitely did rub me as a fan the wrong way, right? It definitely did do that. Without a doubt, Deontay Wilder was making excuses. It comes to a point where if you're going to make an accusation, and this right here may also include Floyd Schofield, right? You make accusations, serious accusations, right? We're talking about bad, what's the word I'm looking for here? Bad faith moves being made behind your back to hurt you, potentially take your life from you. This is boxing. You don't play boxing. So if people are putting poison in your food, if you're accusing people of doing that, if you're accusing people of spiking your water, you're accusing people of manipulating their gloves, if you're not going to back that up with legitimate facts and make it available to the public, is the public wrong for putting scrutiny on of changing it from a reason as to why something happened versus an excuse, right? If the reason you weren't able to fight Tyson Fury at your full capacity is because you were poisoned, something was put in your water, or because Tyson Fury put something in his gloves, that reason is going to be based off of proof that you can provide. If you can't provide the proof, then it's an excuse, because we don't know. It's speculation. We don't know that it's true. And I don't know. I'm not a big law guy, but there's a certain part of me that feels like, lawsuits could get involved in a situation like that. And at which Deontay Wilder spoke on it as well. He said it. He said, listen, man, if Tyson Fury feels like I'm lying on him, then, feel free to sue me. I think that's fair as well. That's fair. Okay. All right, whatever. But why do this? Why crash out like this on a situation like that? And the same thing with Floyd Schofield Sr. I bring him into it because it's another situation to where you have somebody who feels insulted by people questioning his integrity when he puts out an allegation like this and hasn't rolled out any evidence to back up the allegation, just continues to let us know he has the evidence, continues to let us know, but refuses to provide it to us. What are we supposed to think about that? And I thought it was also interesting in this one right here, Deontay Wilder possibly taking this into a racial situation. All of a sudden, why can't you believe the black man? Well, that sounds like some Me Too shit, right? It kind of sounds like the women who want to put the jackets on the men for inappropriate sexual behavior, deviant behavior, and we're just supposed to believe them on face value and start locking men up, charging men, doing all this stuff without any real evidence. And here we are in a situation to where Deontay Wilder finds himself in a situation to where he's in front of a journalist who has the heart to speak to the elephant in the room, as most journalists, I think, have stayed away from that, right? The media here in America have respected Deontay Wilder's wishes and not addressed this situation in a real way. Like, this guy did, right? Let me see if I can pull it up here and find it. 1 second. I'm trying to find it. Bear with me. Who's over here? They're trying to get the money. 1 second here. Okay. Here we go. Let's do a little video reaction, huh? Hopefully they don't demonetize me for this one. But you know, sometimes you got to take a chance, right? Let's see this. Share screen. Boom. Share. Bear with me. All righty, let's take a look at this and hit play on this one, guys.
I understand that. The only
back, baby.
The only
Y'all
reason,
understand that? You better be paper the fourth is going down.
The fans love him. I wanted to move you on to Tyson Fury.
I don't want to talk about him.
No, you're going to.
We're here about
no, but you're going to.
We're not going to talk about him
at
all.
But as part
we're not going to talk about him at all. Understand that?
No, fair enough.
All right, then. So let's move on. It's all about Derek Chisora. That's it.
I understand that. The only
back, baby.
The only
Y'all
reason,
understand that? You better be paper the fourth is going down.
The only reason
at the O2, you better be there.
Fabulous.
You'll be a square.
The only reason I mentioned it is because.
All right, so immediately Deontay's agitated, right? I mean, he's agitated. Clearly, he doesn't want to talk about it. And I think at this point, I believe his name is Simon. He can read the room. He sees the tension coming from Deontay Wilder, but he also has a job to do, right? And you're in the UK. You're in the backyard of Tyson Fury. This guy, Simon, has never had an opportunity to speak to you about this, right? I'm reading the chat. Y'all, you sitting there. Okay. Yeah, Virgil Wimberly, I see you, bro. We can get to all of that, Virgil. This is just the beginning. We just walked into the situation. Bear with me, right? Bear with me, Virgil. You know what I'm saying? Bear with me. So, and once again, Deontay's already off put by, but he, to me, seems to be extra upset very early about this. And it does raise questions because this happened so long ago. Not to say get over it, but you're in the UK. You know what I'm saying? That's probably the most significant fight that you've ever had in your career is a Tyson Fury situation. Would a UK journalist be being honest with himself to not bring this up, right? To not bring up the Tyson Fury situation. And I'll be honest with you, Simon flips it to a certain degree. That makes sense to me, but let's hit play on this and see what Simon says here.
It's part of the shtick that goes with you. And I missed you first time around when you came in here 3 years ago, when you were in your pomp 4 years ago, doing Bomb Squad and all that sort of stuff. And I've always wanted to have a conversation with you because you've made observations about Fury. I have my own views on Fury, and you've called him a cheat. And it leads me to...
Okay, so Simon is making it clear. I wanted to have a conversation with you. Now, Deontay doesn't know that Simon is not a fan of, if you guys follow this guy, he's not a big fan of Tyson Fury, right? But he wants to go somewhere with this conversation, right? Because as this rolls out, you see how significant the questioning becomes, that it actually does have something to do with Derek Chisora. And he's speaking about accountability. He's speaking about getting over certain things and being able to move on from things that happen in your life to get into the next chapter of your life without the baggage, right? You can see as he's starting to speak on this, you know, he is trying to go somewhere with this, but you also seeing Deontay Wilder is starting to black out a little bit. The crash out is beginning. Peep the breathing, peep how he's moving, right? Peep the body language. Deontay is very much caught up in this, and it's not a good thing.
Boxing.
Yeah, but it leads me to a conclusion.
Because in boxing, if somebody practicing, taking their stuff out of their gloves in training, what you think they're gonna do in the fight?
Yeah, but
that's all I got to say about that.
I want to put something to you about you, right? And Fury just happens to be the hook for it.
That's all I got to say about him.
You talked about...
So right there, boom, the breathing, the deep breathing through his nose. Simon lets you know, I'm bringing this full circle. Bear with me. But I'm telling you, right at this moment, Deontay doesn't hear anything anymore. He's completely, it's probably going ooh in his ear, and he is blown away. He's upset, really upset.
And you can tell that he's clearly not gotten over that whole Tyson Fury situation. Whether or not he believes it's real or he doesn't believe it's real, this thing is clearly a very sensitive spot for Deontay.
You talked about water being spiked. You talked about your Game of Thrones outfit being too heavy for you.
I didn't say that.
Facts. So when he says facts, I'm interested. Does that mean that you had the water tested and that there's documented proof that there were things inside of the water that shouldn't have been in there that affected the way you fought? Is that what he means by facts? Or is he just using it loosely? I don't know.
You said it was too heavy for you.
I didn't say that.
Okay, well, I might be wrong on that one. You talked about the long.
Y'all took a journalist that said something because y'all, everybody wanted to come in. Oh, why did boom?
You talked about a long count, right? And then you talked about the trainers, Mark Breland not being good enough.
No, I ain't say he wasn't good enough.
So what I'm asking you in all of this is, it sounds to me, given the character that you are, that's like a little bit flaky. You lost those fights, and those fights were lost. And you saying that someone like Fury cheated you in those fights, I think is kind of disappointing to me.
You can say what you want. I know the truth. I have the facts.
Okay.
Once again, facts. Facts. And I think that's important. I think the facts are important in this. And if you have the facts, just like Floyd Schofield Jr., you're not providing the facts. What do you expect a journalist like Simon? What do you expect fans? What do you expect the public opinion to say? It gets kind of crazy. It gets kind of crazy at this point. And at this point, I'm not going to even go. I'm not going to even go any deeper into it because I'm going to tell you the truth that at the end of the day, until this situation with the documentary, and I won't make fun of the way he said it before, I won't go into that. Until that comes out, you are susceptible to all kinds of scrutiny. As far as not scrutiny, as far as calling you the bad guy, but questioning. Questioning is fair. It's a conversation. It's a dialogue. You're in the UK. You're on the big stage. The crash out that happens after this situation starts to bring new questions up about Deontay Wilder. It starts to speak to his mental space and his mental health and his emotional stability. Because was Simon trolling a little bit, poking at the bear a little bit? I think it's fair to say that. This is the big show, the big stage. They're promoting a big fight where you and Derek Chisora are all buddy-buddy. You're having fish and chips throughout London. Where is the teeth for this fight? Let's build up this fight. Let's build this up as much as we can, because in all reality, there might be a little bit of an argument there to say, is this fight really a fight that everybody cares to see as much as they should want to see it, being that this fight maybe, I believe, is going on Netflix, right? So this is a big deal, or is it going on Misfit? I don't know. This is supposed to be a huge fight, right? Is Deontay Wilder emotionally stable enough? How is the accountability thing going to play out in a fight against Derek Chisora? Will there be any excuses? All those different questions get raised. I thought it was interesting to see it. The crash out was crazy. Maybe a little bit later I'll bring it up. I don't know. But it is what it is. Right now, I'm going to bring up the guy you love to hate. Some of y'all hate to love him. It is what it is. But my guy, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my guy. Angelo Reyes in the building, man. Angelo, what's goody with you, man? What's goody with you, man?
Listen to me, man. We need to do a segment every week called Everybody Loves Angelo. Like that show, Everybody Loves Raymond.
Maybe, bro. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe, bro. Listen, man. I'm gonna let that one, as the wise man once said, I'm gonna let that sizzle.
Yeah, let it sizzle amongst the space.
Yeah.
Wearing one of my the birthday shirts that my wifey got me. It says transplant scars are sexy, y'all. So keep that in mind for all your family members and friends who have a transplant scar at all. And yeah, man, Clay, just blessed to have another day. And wow, we talked a lot of good business. We had Bernard Hackett even really opening up and speaking up about how Zuffa Boxing and the good business of Zuffa Boxing changing the sport in our very eyes on real time, right? And Bernard Hackett, as you know, is somebody who had worked with the Mayweather group, which there's a lot of controversy going on with that right now. and then worked with Eddie Hearn, right? And now he is happy as a clam with Zuffa. Shortly here, we're gonna have our great young man. You know, I can't stop speaking highly about this 22-year-old. We're gonna have him on as a guest to talk about his big win on Zuffa Boxing Sunday, Clay. And then on the flip side of it, kind of in that PBC era of the weirdness that was happening in boxing that really took a lot of the mainstream fans out, the mainstream sports fans, especially in the U.S., out of wanting to watch boxing. We got Deontay Wilder at 40 coming back, but bro, it's crashing out on global TV, man. Like,
I think I see some people in the chat kind of
TV.
reacting. People are reacting to it in different ways, right? Like some people are seeing it as mental instability. Some people are, you know, a lot of people are buying right into the race thing. Oh, the black man trying to tell about the black plight and this and that. But you know, I think there's an argument to say that's a cop out. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
there's some truth to a degree to what he's talking about, the history of an African American in America and dealing with a lot of systemic, you know, racism and things of that nature. Yeah, I mean, there's some truths there, but did it in context to the conversation, to the question, to what was being addressed? I don't know if that necessarily was it. But look, it is what it is, man. We'll get into that a little later. We do have our guest in the building, man, and I don't want to waste his time, not one bit. I just saw this guy perform this weekend on Sunday. By the way, the post-fight, you would have thought this guy's media trained. What a great, I think he had the best post-fight out of all of the fighters.
Absolutely. A plus.
I mean, answered all the questions, super transparent, super present. You know what I mean? You would have thought he was prepared for it, like he was given the questions beforehand. He was just
yeah. Well, we've had him on the show before, and he was very transparent with us, opening up about his life, right? But let me say, grade level, and again, Clay, you know, I'm here to the ground in Las Vegas, and everybody has talked to me and messaged me about how Jalil really impressed, not only in his fight performance, but his post-fight conference. But let's bring him on, man.
It is what it is, man. Shout out Jalil Hackett in the building, man.
How y'all doing?
Man, we doing great. Yo, Jalil, we got you by yourself today, man. So this is your time, you know what I'm saying?
This is you. This is you, bro.
Time. You know, that dynamic between your father was a very interesting dynamic, a good show, great show. I want to get you guys back on again in the same capacity. But we do want to, you know, we want the protein on the plate to be Jalil Hackett. Your performance this weekend matched very well, a very gamed opponent, and something I know, like I told your father, you were like a pig in slop. You know what I'm saying? You was in your element. You was this is where you want to be. El Negro Mexicano. I don't think it gets any realer than that fight on Sunday. But impressive on multiple levels, not just the fight, but just also the professionalism and how you carried yourself in the media. So we're interested in everything, in every aspect of it. So we'll start off with this one. How was the experience, your first fight at Zuffa? And speak on the fight, man, from your perspective, man, what you saw.
Hell of an experience, man. You know, I give my hats off to all those guys over at Zuffa that, you know, that had everything set up correctly. You know, huge shout out to the UFC PI. You know, they took all the fighters in with open arms. You know, they made, you know, fight week very, very easy, you know, as far as helping us with the meals, helping us with our final cut, everything like that. So huge hats off to them. It was a hell of an experience. I really enjoyed myself, and you know, I'm glad I got to be able to showcase my talents on such a great platform like Paramount Plus.
Yeah, 100%,
hey, Jalil, before I ask my first question, I want to comment and say that your dad gave a big shout out to Paramount Plus, and in particular Paramount Plus in the Latin area, because you're as I was explaining to Julian Rodriguez when we interviewed him earlier this week, Paramount Plus is getting to over 7 million households, right? Just over that weekend of different things. We don't know how many of the replays are. But in particular, too, outside of the USA households, then there's all the different markets. So he was very proud of that. He was very happy to see that you were out there. You gave yourself a low grade, C+, I believe it was, on your performance. For me, I gave you a A- because, in my opinion, I think that it's extremely difficult, Jalil, for anyone to be in such a big stage, being the main event of the preliminary cards right on prime time, and for you to have switched up the game plan and show dominance. Can you kind of talk us through that? Because your dad kind of explained what was happening between you trying to knock him out, then you also boxing. Can you kind of talk us through it and why you gave yourself a C+?
I gave myself a C+ because throughout this whole camp, I prepared myself to, go a few rounds, go about 3 or 4 rounds. But by round 5 or 6, I expected to stop him. So obviously that didn't happen. But once that didn't happen, I think it was in the 5th round, if I'm not mistaken, I got caught with a good shot. He did some damage in the 5th, and that shouldn't have happened. Because once the game plan was to shift to boxing, we were supposed to shift to boxing in the 5th round. That didn't happen, and that's how I got caught. So that really downgraded my performance, in my opinion. And on top of that, it's a lot of small things that slowly but surely made me diminish the grade.
Yeah, man. Listen, I thought the C+ was for me. I didn't mind you saying C+, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not that I thought you had a C+, but I loved the mission you were on for perfection. It told me that this dude wants to improve, and he's wants to close up all the holes. And I don't mind the scrutiny. I don't mind the C+ at all, man. I thought it was part of the product that you sold to the Zuffa boxing space, right? I think the media was very impressed with you off the strength of that, because it meant a lot, because it just meant that we should expect a lot more from you. And I thought that was, weighing it out, that was way more valuable.
It's realistic. I honestly look at it. I gotta, I came in real, so I gotta stay real. That's a very realistic grade. If you preach you a contract killer, they don't pay for attempted murders, they pay for murders.
Ooh.
So yeah, we went out there, we grazed him a few times. He gonna be laid up in the hospital for a bit, but he gonna fight again. They didn't pay for that. They paid for bodies. So, you gotta give them what they pay for, or they gonna stop paying.
Man, let's just say something real quick, Clay. First of all, Jalil, I'm telling you, whether I'm getting texts and phone calls about your post-fight conference within the space of this community here in Las Vegas, and you have so many quotable moments. One of which is, I don't really believe in robberies, because last time
accountability.
And you said last time you checked, the judges didn't carry no guns or nothing to rob. I thought that was extremely quotable. And talk to us about the quote where you said that Zuffa boxing is actually doing boxing and fighters a favor. And you were doing the analogy of, let's say I have 5 fights. Can you kind of re-explain that to our fan base and our channel?
Okay, all right. So let's say a fighter has, like I said, let's say a fighter has 20 fights. And in those 20 fights, the fighters that he's fighting are very handpicked. The outcome of the fight far before the fight happens. And, he goes 20-0 and he knocks out 18 of them. From the outside looking in, you're thinking, oh, I have a knockout artist on our hands. But then, he gets to fight number 21, and he fights another guy who may be 16-4. But in his 20 fights, he's fought 15 guys that are really, really good. And the other 5 guys that aren't really, really good, they're decent, but they didn't come in there to lay down. When the guy that's 16-4 beats the guy that's 20-0, and everybody's shocked, once you take a deeper dive, you say the dude that's 20-0 is really ass, because he ain't fought no fucking body. Compared to what Zuffa got going on, you're gonna fight somebody that's coming to fight. You're not gonna have no pre-made matches where it's like, we know the outcome of this one. You're gonna fight somebody who if you come bullshitting, you're gonna have a long night. And and in the event that you lose, it's not the end of the world for you. I just think about the Kane Sandoval fight from Zuffa 1. Him and his opponent, they had a war. and nobody really lost ultimately at that fight. You know, they both got paid really good. You know, they both got to showcase their skills on a big platform like Paramount Plus, and they'll both be back on another Zuffa card later on down the line. You know, and potentially, you know, they might fight each other again. So it's like nobody lost in that fight compared to it was another fight that was also on that card where you know we had a guy completely dominate another guy because he came out there was like a deer in headlights. He won't be back on the Zuffa card more than likely because he came in there and basically laid down. You know, they not promoting that. They not promoting laying down. They're not promoting like one-sided fights. They promoting good fighting.
Yeah, I mean, and I could appreciate that, and I think that's one of the things that makes Zuffa boxing, the idea of Zuffa boxing, at least as it's continuing to roll out. There are only 2 fights into their 2 events into their freshman career, right? Their freshman year. But yeah, man, the idea of the development, and I love the way you highlighted speaking to the development, the 16-4 in comparison to the 20-0, and you know that 16-4 fighter being a tried true fighter in comparison to somebody who might have been artificially flavored a little bit, right? Might have been his record might have been padded up, and the difference it's going to make on the big stage. I love that about that situation, man. So let me ask you this situation right here. Now that you've gotten a taste of it, how did it feel on the media day? You know, I think that's the first time I've seen you really, they showcase you, right? It was exclusively you. You had a lot of good media in front of you. How'd you feel about the questioning, the level of professional journalists and media that was out there? Was there a difference there in between that and let's say what you've experienced in the past?
Slight difference, slight difference. One thing I can say is I answer questions a little bit more relaxed because you know you're not in fear of scrutiny. Well, or at least for me, not really in fear of scrutiny because it's like you can. They told me I can be myself. You know, compared to in other situations, you know, it was certain things you could and couldn't say. So yeah, I like the media aspect of things.
Yeah, no, definitely that you could see, you know, the way they rolled it out professionally speaking. I thought that during your post fight conference you were very highly complimentary of Roberto Cruz, and you explained how both of you had the same exact record. He got 1 loss, you got 1 loss. Both of you have fought in the title fights, right? His last fight was the title fight. So Roberto Cruz is someone that we'll see in Zuffa down the line. So speaking of now the 160, I know some people don't even realize that you weighed in at 157 because that was the weight that it was contracted for. But now moving forward, you're going to get a chance to fight at the 160 with some of the people I know. They'd mentioned Caleb Walsh. But can you talk to us about what you had said that in the UFC PI you were actually eating the day of the night before the weigh-ins and going into the weigh-ins, and that's the first time you've ever felt that? Talk to us a little bit about that, eating before the weigh-ins, which is a little insane to the boxing space, right?
Yeah, like so I'm, you know, like me and most fighters, like fight week is usually like pure hell. Like that's the worst week ever. But like the way that they had things set up, so we got out there on a Wednesday, you know, far in advance from weigh-in. And you know, when we got out there, we get to the PI and stuff. They were checking our weight every day. You know, not for, you know, any commission purposes, but just to assist us with our weight cut. And you know, they're checking our weight and they're giving us all this food. And at first we're thinking, like, I think the first day they gave us food, I only ate like one thing out of the bag. And they was like, no, that bag we gave you is for that whole day. And I was like, oh wow, this is hella shit. And they're like, nah, you know, we have everything measured out to where like you're getting the energy that you need minus the unneeded carbs and unneeded calories and shit like that. So for them to have that lined up all the way up until the day before the weigh-ins, where you know it wasn't any unnecessary sauna usage, anything like that. It was perfect, you know. I slept peacefully the night before weigh-ins, knowing that I made the weight relatively easy, And I knew that after I got off the scale, they already had everything lined up to rehydrate me the right way.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's another thing about it, right? The development of the fighter, not only through matchmaking, but also the physical development. They're going to be part of that process, right? They're there for the recovery, they're there for the conditioning, they're there for the proper weight cut to put you in the right space. I mean, just overall, all said and done, after the first experience, did they over exceed your expectations at this point, or is it exactly what you kind of expected based off of the intro, but based off that first impression that you had of them? Or how did you feel about the whole around experience now that you're home and you're looking back at it?
No, they definitely did their big one, man. They did their big one. Because like, as far as like, the whole we get there, it was no that I needed that I didn't have. Let's put it like that. Being a fighter, any fighter that has done a fight camp or any fighter that has done a fight week and they get to the city that they're fighting in far in advance, everything you could think you might need, they applied. They made sure you had it times 10. So yeah, hats off to them. They get an A+ on that.
Now, Jalil, here you are, you're back home. I know that this is a very different experience for you because you've spoken to us very candidly before about how you had this long layoff where where's your money going to come from? You don't even know when your next fight is going to be. And now you're in a situation where your dad was already telling us you might be fighting as soon as April. So now coming home, did you just take like 1 week off, maybe get a new tattoo, or are you already like right back into the gym on Monday? Where are we at in the Jalil Hackett journey of recovery and getting ready?
All right, so first I'm gonna start you off. No new ink for me. No new ink. Taking a little ink break. But as far as training, we did take the week off because last fight I did suffer, minor injuries to the hands. And that's another thing. Shout out to the UFC PI. They did give me an opportunity to, get in touch with them and make sure everything was okay. I didn't break anything. Just slight bruising to the hands, bruising and swelling, So we're just taking the week off to go down. But we will be back in the gym Monday because we will be back in the ring soon.
Wow,
And that
wow.
yeah, because I definitely was going to ask you, what are you expecting at this point? I mean, but maybe you might want to even elaborate. So at this point, what are your expectations for the next step to be? You know what I mean? When you think you're going to get in there next?
I don't mean to cut you off, Clay, but
No.
I'm gonna start off by letting you know I know when I'll be in the ring again. So that's that. I know when I'll be in the ring again.
But you
So-
can't tell. You
Interesting.
can't tell us. You can't give us.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys just have to wait. But
All right.
I know
okay,
when
no
I'll
problem.
be in the ring again, so I'm very eager to get back into the gym. But yeah, I really like the way, and I'm gonna keep saying it. I really like the way they running things over at Zuffa, man.
That's
Absolutely.
interesting though, because I'm gonna let you get it raised, but that's awesome, right? That feeling, like I saw the confidence, and trust me, feel free to cut me off anytime you feel like it. I'll say, hey, no problem. But I just heard the confidence, and I saw it in your face how good that must have felt to say that. You literally, a couple of days from your last fight, and you like, I gotta stop you because I ain't never really been able to say this before. Bro, I know exactly.
Yeah, I've never been in a situation where getting out of the ring, I knew when I was gonna fight again. I can honestly say getting out of the ring from my last fight, I knew when I was gonna fight again.
Wow. No, what I was gonna say was Julian, when we interviewed him, he was very open about how the rankings is working, and he believes he's already on the top 3 for welterweight. I believe he even thinks that after that last fight, he should already be number 1. You were the main event of the prelim cards, which then we could safely assume, all right, we might be seeing Jalil in the main card on his next fight that you already know when it's going to happen. Do you have any idea at all of where Zuffa's ranking you in the middleweight? Are you in the top 5 already?
No, I don't have any idea where they're ranking me, but wherever they're ranking me, we're gonna end at number 1. So everything else is irrelevant.
Okay. All right, now, you know, again, I'm not trying to stir nothing up because I know on the first Zuffa 1 card they had Caleb Walsh, Misael Rodriguez, you know, they had Ocampo in there. They had Rodriguez's opponent. So it looks like they are building a healthy squad of 160s. There's more coming. I know you're the type of guy who will take on whoever is in front of you, but getting to that Zuffa belt at some point in the year, is there anyone that for yourself you would rather take on right now to kind of hit the home run of saying, I'm your guy? Is there anyone?
Right now, no, there's not anyone in particular. Whoever they throw out there, that's who we'll get down with. You know, it's all about at the end of the day, like I've been reiterating, you know, they just want to see the best fight. So whoever they feel like is the best fight for me next, that's who we're gonna fight. That's who we're gonna go out there and beat up, and you know, we'll go from there.
You know, that's also another interesting point of a conversation right here, to say that, you know, now that you're in this system, I also notice how you don't even care who the next person is, right? Whoever, because is it because you know you're working your way up to where you're trying to get to? And because it feels like in the old structure of boxing that calling out the next fighter, you know what I'm saying, was the thing to do. But does that pressure not seem to be there in this system? Is it more so just I'm fighting the next fight, I'm active, and we know as long as we keep winning, we're going to end up where we're supposed to be? Is that where that comes from?
Yeah, but on the other hand, I feel like later on down the line, as the roster starts to fill up and tension starts to rise, the call outs will happen. Like, you know, you might get a situation where, you know, maybe 2 or 3 fights from now, you know, things are trending in a direction to where like Caleb's doing really good and I'm doing really good. And I say, man, shit, Caleb, let's make it happen. And me and Caleb fight. Or you might see a situation where Boachuk is doing really good and Rodriguez is doing really good. And Rodriguez says, Boachuk, let's fight. You know, you might see something like that later on down the line. But as of right now, you know, Dana and his team, they make the matches and the fighters that they have, I'm sure everybody's willing to fight anybody.
No, I love that. And shout out to Mike Scallion, who's the matchmaker for Zuffa Boxing. I think that everybody's been complimenting him. I know Max Kellerman was complimenting on how so many of the fights so far have been very 50-50. We're all excited for you, Jalil. So I'm gonna kind of give you a twist of a question real quick, just to kind of lighten your mood a little bit. I know you're a huge football fan. It is Super Bowl week, sir. And we have the Drake May, right, with the Patriots, and the Seattle Seahawks and Sam Darnold. And as you know, our new coach, me and your dad are happy about Clint Kubiak coming in for us. But are you watching the Super Bowl? Is it a party at the Hackett house? And what are you eating? Because Super Bowl weekend usually has to do with eating also.
So number one, at first I was leaning towards New England, but the closer we get to the Super Bowl, I think it's gonna be a game of adjustments. Whoever can make the best adjustments will win. As far as food goes, you know, good old Super Bowl food. We gonna, you know, Buffalo Wild Wings, you know, maybe some pizza, you know, something like that. Just good vibes, good food. Good food for the Super Bowl. Good food to watch this good game, man.
No doubt, no doubt. Hey, we got to remember, Jalil. I last time I checked, you were a boxing fan, and you happened to be on a crazy weekend, right? You were the closer to a crazy weekend of fights, and I just feel like I couldn't let this slide and not talk about the fights that happened that weekend. First of all, let's start off with your card. As far as besides your fight, what did you think about the card? Did you get a chance to follow all the fights that happened on the card? Even looking back at it, what did you think about the fight, your card, the Zuffa card?
We actually had a TV in our locker room, so I got to watch nearly the whole card. Huge shout out to Justin Valoria. That's my boy. He went out there. He got the job done. You know, he was the fight before me, so hats off to him for doing his thing. Also another shout out to my boy Van Houder, man. Shout out to Demazion, bro. He did his thing, man. And another one, shout out to my boy Hot Rod. Hot Rod, huge underdog. He went out there and got a knockout win. So hats off to him. But as far as the whole card goes, it was a very great card. Very well-rounded card from top to bottom. I definitely look forward to Zuffa 3. I think that's going to be a very good card. I can't wait to see who they're going to have on the card when they announce it, but I'm looking forward to it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, Zuffa 3, we'll talk about it a little later, Jalil. It's got F.A. Jogba as the heavyweight fighting the former world champ Charles Martin and a whole bunch of, again, some of the new signees. Zuffa 4, March 8th, got Jai Apataya, and I'm sure we'll be hearing soon about yours. Yeah, I'm assuming you're going to be Zuffa 5, Zuffa 6. Again, you don't have to say nothing, but it's feeling like you already know where you're coming when it comes to that. How about the Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez card? Did you get to watch it, that night, like before your card happened on Sunday? And where?
I didn't catch the card in its entirety, but I definitely did watch the Bruce Carrington fight. He looked very well. Congratulations to him. I got a chance to watch Keyshawn and Jermaine Ortiz's fight. Keyshawn looked very well. Congratulations to him. And Shakur and Teofimo's fight was very good too. But Shakur pitched a shutout, man. That was a hell of a boxing lesson he put on. So hats off to him.
Going into that fight, we asked you before. You had actually, we spoke to you on our last interview, and you had some perspective on what you thought the fight was going to be. Is that how the fight panned out for you? Is it the way you thought it was going to be, or was anything different from what you thought it was going to be? Because you called for Shakur for the win, so you got the win right, but did the fight move still the way you thought it was going to move?
I didn't think he was going to be that aggressive. He was very aggressive that fight. For those who say Shakur isn't entertaining, I was those. That was a very entertaining fight. He showed a new wrinkle. So, yeah, congratulations to him. Definitely look forward to seeing what's next for him at 140.
And Reyes, go ahead, bring it to the fight. That I want to know his opinion on it, but I know you're going there. I do, because I know this guy's always going to have that personal.
Yeah,
what I mean, you guys are always going to be connected in that way, and I hope one day you guys get to figure it out. I mean, not personal, because you guys.
Yeah, it's not personal. Not personal. But so Jalil, the question, as you already know, that I'm going to ask you is, so Saturday night, tons of events happening. Bakram and Josh Kelly was in the morning, but in Puerto Rico, Xander Zayas, at 23 years old, gets the unification fight against Abbas Baru, wins it. He's now the 154 WBO WBA. You guys have always been very vocal about Xander. I'd like to get your thoughts on that performance if you got to watch it. And I'm sure maybe at some point at 160, we could still be looking at a Hackett versus Xander.
Didn't catch the fight in its entirety. Did catch some highlights. He looked very good in his fight. Congratulations to him on getting the win. And that is a fight that I'm definitely still looking forward to, potentially at 160. Even if he doesn't have a belt, that's just a fight that I feel like will really be a mega fight.
Yeah. I'm starting, it's growing on me, because I'm not gonna lie to you, right? Just be transparent with you. I felt like you guys were so far apart, right? Like he was just in a different season in his career in comparison to you. So I'm like, yeah, what Xander really got, he got so many things in front of him. It seems like he was still working your way through. But as things are developing now, and as I love the way you looked on that post-fight media, I think that was a highlight of it, because I saw star quality in you, family. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when I saw it, like was in your presence. And I'm like, yeah, this dude might really, with this platform, he might become like must-watch TV. So it's growing on me. It's growing on me a lot, man. I'm definitely, maybe at 160, who knows? 168, maybe. I don't know. Both of you guys are growing so aggressively at times. You never know, but I definitely think that's a big super fight for you guys to have, man. But from the whole weekend, from the whole experience, Jalil, what do you think the biggest thing is that you walked away with, today, that you sitting now after a fight on Zuffa, after seeing what's in front of you as far as the amenities? You ate before the fight. You had a great fight, great press conference. How are you feeling today? And where's your mind state today? How do you feel about your career moving forward now that all of this has culminated to this?
The mindset hasn't changed from a few weeks before the fight. I'm just anxious for the future. I was anxious beforehand. We got there. It was a hell of an experience. Now I'm anxious for what's next.
Yeah, definitely feel the same way.
Hey, Jalil. So, again, I'm going to bring it back to here you are. You won the fight. In the post-fight press conference, you said, honestly, I'm a foodie, and I've been thinking about food this whole time. So what was the meal after the post-fight conference? And then I know you guys had to leave the next day because I texted your dad. I was like, hey, man, so I'm going to take you and Jalil to the Filipino place. And he was like, bro, they're having us leave to the airport early. So, you didn't get a chance to experience the Filipino food I was going to take you to. But I am curious, what did you end up eating that night and going into the next day?
I know that night I ended up getting like some breakfast food. It's a spot at our hotel that has some real good breakfast food. So I ended up getting like some steak and eggs from there. That shit was good. And then the next morning I ended up getting breakfast again from the same spot because that shit was hitting. But I ended up getting traditional breakfast, pancakes, sausages, eggs, stuff like that. So that was good. Yeah.
All right. Shout out to the Palace Station. I know that's where you got
breakfast at night. Sometimes breakfast is good dinner. Sometimes every now and then it almost feels like
absolutely
cheating, right.
Absolutely.
Breakfast is good, man. Some pancakes in the middle of the night, French toast, steak, and eggs. Sometimes that little combination hits the spot just right.
Well,
for sure, man.
Yeah, in Vegas, I mean, the food goes all around, right? So, again, shout out to Palace Station. Next time, though, Jalil, when you come back in that hotel, there is the dim sum place, which is the China Mama. I was trying to take your dad.
I seen. I definitely wish I would have got a chance to try it.
Yeah. So, and then my next follow up to it is, I don't know what you're wearing. I was trying to see it, right? But, you look like you got a little fashion thing. I don't know if it's just cold over there or if there's some meaning to this. I was with my cousin. He was trying to get a chance to meet with you. I was trying to get the two of you to meet, but I know you were locked in for the fight. So he's a streetwear fashion designer. And, he was like, man, Jalil might be the type of guy that I might want to be a model of some sort. So I'm wondering, are you into that stuff? Are you into like what Devin Haney does, Fear of God, or there's Chrome Hearts, Off-White? Like, are you into any of these type of things?
I'm into what Jalil Hackett does. Jalil Hackett likes, a lot of brands. Jalil Hackett likes to be stylish. Jalil Hackett will go in Chrome Heart. Jalil Hackett will go to gallery department. I will, make that call to Trent and be like, yeah, I'm trying to come cash you out at gallery. So yeah, Jalil Hackett does like brands. This brand I have on is called Arctic. They make a lot of ski gear. So it's definitely very warm apparel.
All right. See, I could tell there was a fashion thing in going on with Jalil. He didn't just come on a full shot without any purpose. So I just felt like, all right.
Nah, he's definitely a young bull out here, man. I know he's up on game, and like he said, I love the answer, by the way. You know what I mean? Jalil Hackett doing Jalil Hackett. And that's the most important thing, man. I mean, that's about it, man. I don't want to hold you up too long, man. Is there anything I'm saying, you think we didn't talk about, or anything you kind of want to speak on mentally? How you feeling, man, at this point? Are you feeling like you're in a good place mentally? How you feeling?
Mentally, I'm great. Always room for improvement when it comes to anything. But right now I'm doing very good mentally. We've had a lot as far as anything we missed. We've talked about everything. We've had a lot going on. I'm not sure if you guys keep up with basketball, but the trade deadline is here.
Okay.
A lot going on in the NBA.
Okay.
I feel like the Wizards are taking the pizza out of the oven before it's fully baked. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think they should have did some of the things that they did, but I'm not in the GM's office. I'm a fan, so only time will tell. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, we definitely touched on every topic. I appreciate you guys always for having me. To all my fans, I thank y'all. Y'all are really my motivation. Um, to my dad, he not on here today, talkative Tony, but I appreciate you, Dad. We put on a hell of a performance. I went out there and I was a very good game manager Sunday night. But you as the coach, you made all the right adjustments in the earphones, and I went out there and carried out the adjustments very well. It's always room for improvement, but I think we executed. We did what mattered the most. We went out there and we put on a show for the fans, and we got to win.
That's awesome. Hey, Jalil, and because you mentioned that, I do got to throw in one little thing at you. My wife, who I was telling your dad right away, like that night, right? You did the post-fight conference with Max Kellerman. My wife absolutely fell in love with you when you said to Max, and Max said, and you were saying, you know what? I want to get a knockout, and, I'm trying to entertain the fans. And then Max goes, but are you, or are you really doing it for you? Because
Facts.
you like to fight. And then you said, all right, man.
All right, you got me. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, like he caught me. I can't even lie, man. I can't even lie because a lot of people, it's crazy. So many people were hitting me up like, damn, bro, like, why don't you box more? Like, you was boxing them so good. And like, my honest answer was like, bro, that shit gets boring. That shit gets boring. Like,
yeah, listen, man, you got to have a good time too, right? Like you got to be, you got to do you too, man. You got to. It's about the balance, though. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going to be exciting to watch you. That's what's going to be exciting to watch you go through in your journey is finding that balance. And I think I'm seeing good things, man. I think that balance is gonna, when it hits, when it's just right. I think it's a lot of great things that people are going to see from Jalil Hackett, without a doubt, man.
Hey, Jalil, you're an absolute superstar. It's going to take everybody to see what we've already seen. I told you this, young man, that when I saw you on the Underdog series of Fountain Blue, I said, that kid's going to be a superstar and everybody's going to get a chance to see it. So thank you for continuing to prove us right. We at ATP Combat Media like to do I like to do victory laps whenever we make a prediction and it ends up being right. So thank you for being the superstar that you are. And we are definitely looking forward to having you back on soon.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Definitely, man. I appreciate y'all for having me once again. And y'all know, anytime y'all want me, man, just reach out. And I'll definitely come on if I'm available.
No doubt, Joe. Appreciate your time, man. Thanks again, man. Jalil Hackett, everybody. The next one, Group of Boxing. Let's get it. Good stuff, man. Yeah, man, really impressed with him.
Negro Mexicano.
Yeah, man. Super impressed with that young man, without a doubt, man. And like I said, I told him, and I meant it, man. That post-fight conference was, it really did it for me. You know what I mean? It really, it came full circle for me in that moment. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, look how he's carrying himself. He looks like he belongs right there, right on that screen, handling the media, answering all questions, ducking no fades, whether it's in the ring or whether it's on a microphone. You know what I'm saying? Being questioned, that man ducks no fades, man. You got to give him his respect, man.
Yeah, no, and again, shout out to just their entire team, right? But also shout out to Mama Hackett. I told you, Clay, like one of these days, I'd like to get Mama Hackett on here because both Bernard and Mama Hackett raised such a fine young man. You could just see it. You could see that there's an aura and a glow about this 22-year-old that he's such a good kid, man. He's such a good kid. Hard not to like this kid.
Yeah, facts. So we're about to move on, man. We do have another special guest in the building. And now we get to talk some, current things going on in boxing, man, because boxing has a lot going on, man. And you know what I mean? You guys see I started the show early today. Yeah. The reason I did is because my time is so restricted later on. And last time I felt like we left so much on the table. And I'm like, I
literally had friends in Seattle and Texas going, "Oh man, Clay had to go, bro.
Listen,
it was just getting good with this guy. He was just about to open up."
Throughout my evening, as I'm at work, I'm sitting here thinking about it, like, man, that was getting so good. So I'm like, where can I make the adjustment? So I went on a little early today. Maybe it might be the new time. I don't know if this becomes a new regular thing, but I always want to leave time for obviously the guests that we have on here to express themselves. But also don't want to forget the fact that me and you, we love to talk about boxing. We love to talk about what's going on, bro. So we got somebody to help us along with the journey today. He's going to come and join the conversation. We got a couple of topics we're going to talk about them. Some of them may be a little on the line of controversial.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
If we didn't dive deep into it. Hopefully he doesn't feel like we put him on the spot and throw him in the middle of a bunch of shit. We try our best not to. You know what I'm saying? But bring him up here. Bernard Hackett in the building. Coach Bernard Hackett in the building, man.
Hey, good brothers. How y'all doing?
Good, Coach. How you doing, man?
I can't complain. I was blessed to have another day of life. Once God woke me up, everything else I can deal with.
Yes,
woke
sir.
Up this morning like, another one, right? Woke up this morning was like, and another one with the DJ Khaled.
One. Hey, Coach, compliments to you again. We just cannot stop bragging about how amazing your son is. He couldn't leave without complimenting you as a father, and he game managed. I didn't want to, because I had to wait for my Raider fan brother to be on the panel, but I was about to say, so Jalil, you basically had a Fernando Mendoza moment where your dad was managing you. So my first question to you, Bernard, before we get going to the boxing panel is, how do you feel about our new head coach, Clint Kubiak, and where we're going to move forward with the Raider Nation? Just real quick.
as a diehard Raider fan since I was a kid, I go all the way back to Kenny King, Marcus Allen, Jim Plunkett was the backfield. I'm happy. You know, to me, I think anytime we can get any type of new blood that is thinking this is the place I want to become a winner at, then we can do well. You know, I think sometimes different coaches just look at the money they're going to make, but I wanted a coach that's saying, hey, I want to put another Lombardi trophy up there. So I'm happy with it. Now if we can get the right players who have the right mentality, where I'm a football player first, I'm not a diva, I'm trying to just play football, we're going to be just fine, man. You know, Raider Nation don't never shake. The turntables might wobble, but we don't fall down.
Yeah, you know, I had to get it in there, Clay. I had to get it in there.
Oh,
you know.
I knew. I knew, and I fell back immediately, and I knew the first thing you guys got to get the hell out the damn way. I'm shocked the hats ain't go up. I'm glad at least you guys ain't go crazy and the hats ain't come up. But I know it had, you know what I mean? So, hey, man, progress is progress, bro. I'm going to take what I can get. I'm going to take what's available to me. But a lot of things going on in the boxing space right now. Like I told Jalil, man, part of a huge weekend. You guys closed out one of the biggest weekends in boxing we've had in the longest time. You know what I mean? Events simultaneously running at the same time. There was like no space in the day for the amount of boxing they tried to stick inside one day. But if you're a boxing fan like I am, you found a way. You found a way to watch all the fights. And of course, on the back end of that, we've got things that have developed during the week as well. One of them, what I was talking right before I got into it with Jalil and Reyes. I was talking on the Deontay Wilder experience that we just watched happen in the UK. Did you get a chance to see that, Coach?
Yeah, I saw the interview.
Okay, so it got spicy, right? It got spicy. Clearly a sore spot for Deontay Wilder at this point. Not a topic he seems to be, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't want to talk about that topic. But, you know, sometimes you get in front of those journalists like the Piers Morgans and Simon and those guys who are going to confront and speak to the elephant in the room, no matter how uncomfortable or awkward it becomes. He poked a little bit and tried to get a little deeper into the conversation and went where it went. I'm going to ask you just off face value what you thought about that whole entire situation. What you walk away thinking about, at the end of that situation?
I look at it like this. The same media that you love when you're getting built is the same media you got to love when they're poking at you and tearing you down. I mean, that's That's what our job is, to make the news. Their job is to report the news. So you can't get mad at people for doing their job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of it when it's all said and done? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, me and Clay, we have a lot of deep discussions, Coach Hackett, when we're talking about it privately before we go on the show, and some things make it to the show and some things don't. But mental health is definitely a big play into it. A lot of the things that I'm hearing Deontay Wilder speak on makes me a little concerned about how he's going to be in this next fight with Chisora. You're in the boxing business right now, and you know that it could be a very, very toxic place. I think that, I don't want to say he got baited into the question, but I certainly believe that, unlike the young man that we just saw today in Jalil Hackett, it's almost like Deontay, maybe he never had it, or maybe he just forgot that this is media, and just like Mr. Coach Hackett just said to us, you gotta be cool, man. You gotta be cool. I don't think it was a good look for just America in general, because you're in the UK and you're representing, you're still to this day the greatest heavyweight we've had in recent times. So I don't know, man. I hope mentally he's okay. But what do you guys think about that? Do you think that at 40 years old, getting closer to 41, that he's in a good mental health space and it's a good idea to get back there?
I'm gonna be honest with you, right? This thing there's so many ways to speak about this, and we're not gonna make it all about Deontay Wilder and this crash out today, right? There's so much to talk about, but I'll say this. I respect his beginnings, right? Fighting to take care of his daughter, starting so late in the game, and just, kind of really just winging it up until this point and finding so much success early in the game. But I do think boxing, the way it's set up, and just like we just happened to be talking to Jalil, and how competitive he expects his next fights to be, and how the buildup is, right, in comparison to when he said 16-4 versus a guy who's 20-0, and maybe the guy who's 20-0 has been propped up to be this fighter, right? And whereas the 16-4 guy is a little bit more tried true. I think in the latter half of Deontay Wilder's career, he was confronted with a lot of competition. Heavier competition was a big step up for him, and maybe his season, as far as when he was at his best in his prime, didn't match up with when he had his biggest fights, and it looked the way it is. But being able to deal with that, being able to deal with defeat, adversity, I think he needs accountability, and I think without accountability, he's gonna have a hard time dealing with this. The onus, which I think Simon was trying to put it on, was on the idea of accountability, on the idea of, can you accept a defeat? Does it have to be somebody poisoned your water? Does it have to be somebody, put something in their gloves? Even if you have the proof, if you're not going to provide the proof, off the sake of presenting yourself into the public, can you accept and move on from falling down? Or does it have to be somebody else's fault? You know what I mean? Is somebody else dropping the ball? That's where I'm at with it.
I think a lot of young athletes going into their high school, college, pro careers have always been alleviated of blame. And because they've always been alleviated of blame, and other people step in front of the bullet, even when they know it's not their turn to get shot, by the time they get to the point where Deontay is, they're asking the question, why do I have to be accountable now? I've never had to be before. So, do you blame the dog, or do you blame the people handling the dog? I've never seen somebody with proper training have a dog that's out of control. You only see that when the dog has always been allowed to be out of control. If you want to scrutinize, I don't want to scrutinize Deontay Wilder, and I'll tell you why. The reason I don't want to scrutinize him, because when did you ever scrutinize him before? Mark Breland is one of the most upstanding guys in boxing, one of the most respected men in boxing, had a great career, took his ups and downs, took his losses, And if nothing went wrong before, why is it that when we get to that point, it's cool to be disrespectful to a man that did nothing but try to help you? Yeah, you paid him, but that's his job. You know, at no point have we ever had scrutiny on Mark Breland about doing something underhanded to one of his fighters. Why would we pick tonight to have that? And when did we see Mark Breland with a $5 million inflated bank account overnight? So if you're going to do that, it has to be some type of value to the value system, not just seeing one individual guy lose. And if you're not going to scrutinize him for what he said to Mark Breland, and that's just us being outsiders, respecting the game, respecting Mark Breland as a coach, respecting him as an ethical man, then why are you going to wait till now to scrutinize Mark Breland? I mean, scrutinize Deontay Wilder. To me, you been knew that dog was a biter. Now you want to scrutinize him when he bite the mailman, but you ain't scrutinizing when he bit the neighbor, when he bit your wife, when he bit your friend, because you wanted the friendship of a person. Something amazing came to me, and you just brought this up. Bud Crawford was on another podcast, and a man said, "I sell my soul for $100 million." And Deontay said, and then Bud said, "Well, you just told me what type of man you are."
Yo, didn't he? Didn't he do that?
You just told me what type of man you are. It wasn't disrespecting, but he said, "You told me where your number is." We might not, you know, my son might not be a millionaire yet in this boxing game. My son might not have achieved to get the title yet, the big title that he longs to get. Maybe he never will with Zuffa creating their situation. Maybe he gets a Zuffa title. But at the end of the day, every promoter that we walked away from shaking hands and went our separate ways. We shook hands coming in the door. We shook hands leaving the door. The only expectation we can hold any promoter to is to expect them to pay the check that they agreed to and expect them to promote us. A million people asked my son and myself separately and together how we felt when Eddie Hearn said what he said in Puerto Rico. And my son didn't make a complaint. I didn't make a complaint. But the one thing that, you know, I do say is, if you're gonna do that, fighter or promoter or anybody else, be even across the board. And when I say that, I like I said, I'm not gonna just leave it on Deontay. I say this, you were critical, not you meaning you, but you meaning the media. They were critical about Deontay Wilder and this, what they call crash out. I don't see anybody being critical about Eddie Hearns. My son made weight in Puerto Rico, struggled like hell to make it, then went out there and gave a great performance. I don't talk about the win or the loss because my son said I didn't do enough. But at no time did he back up. Did you ever see him think about quitting or anything of that nature? And for Eddie Hearns to go and berate him the way he did, he's not professional, he's not this, but he made weight. But then you turn around and you have another one of your guys miss weight by 8 pounds. By 8 pounds.
More than once, too.
And you want to act like that didn't even happen. And on top of that, the same week that he berated my son, 2 weeks later, you're standing up for Keyshawn Davis after the situation happened in Norfolk, and he's not even one of your fighters. So my thing is, I can take anything you throw at me because that's how we have to be. You chose to be in a public light. You chose to put yourself in this situation. Only thing I ask is you be the same person in every situation, because you're not judged based on the argument you have. You're judged based on the outcome of other people's thoughts. You can berate me and your best friend may laugh, but somewhere in your best friend's head, he's saying, if I'm in the same situation, is he going to say the same thing about me? You know,
Jules, you know, Coach, like, not to cut you off, right? But today's topic is bad business, right?
Yep.
The last time our last show was good business, right? And what you're speaking on is the difference between good business and bad business. That's what I hear, right? You're talking about good business and bad business. Good business is shaking hands before you leave, doing what you said you're going to do, and the other person on the other side of the handshake doing what they say they're going to do. So I'm going to use that to segue, right? Because we got some topics to get to. And by the way, shout out to Deontay Wilder, man. My big thing is, man, I hope you figure it out, no matter what it is. You said you have your truths, you have your facts, you know what it is. Mainly be the best version of yourself that you can be, and looking forward to see him against Derek Chisora. But segueing out of this into something that I think fits this one is another controversial thing that rolls out on the space right now is Floyd Schofield, Lord God.
Stop it.
Floyd Mayweather Jr. It comes out that he's suing Steven Espinosa, Showtime, $340 million. Money dating back to as far as Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd and Conor McGregor versus Floyd, and some Gervonta Tank Davis fights as well, from my understanding. The business of boxing can be a very, very, very entertaining thing to watch from the outside looking in. You're on the inside. You're dealing with things on a day-to-day basis. When you saw that pop out on the scene, did anything come to mind at all?
When I saw it come out, everybody know we was with Floyd at the beginning. Floyd, my guy. Floyd treated my son as well as can be expected. I will say he was a better friend to my son than he was a promoter. And that to me is not a slight. That's actually a plus. When it was time for us to do something else, the man didn't stand in the way. He said, hey, y'all, if it's something better for your son, then you go find what's better for him. He still keeps in touch with my son. He has nothing to do with his career, but he'll call him and say, congratulations, champ. He told him, hold your head up after the loss. You know, so I have nothing bad to say about Floyd at all. Him, Leonard Ellaby, that team, we were the right seeds, just in the wrong flower pot. So I'm cool with him. Like I tell everybody, I think Floyd is the Snoop Dogg of boxing. He's everybody's uncle. He's the guy that you can go to and he'll give you his honest opinion. When I saw the thing about the money, I tell anybody this. You can say, man, how can somebody beat you out of that type of money? I tell the average person, go check your bank account. Go check your pocket. Have you ever misplaced $5? Have you ever misplaced $3? Have you ever had your bank account off by 50 cents? And if you can say yes, which we all can say yes to, that was on a couple of $1,000s. What you think happened on $1 billion? I mean, we can't put ourselves in Floyd Mayweather's situation. We can't put ourselves in Deontay Wilder's situation, Canelo Alvarez situation. If all of those guys go look back, somewhere some money is missing. Them what they call rich people problems. That somewhere some money is missing. If you go ask Mike Tyson, if you ask Floyd Mayweather, if you ask a lot of these fighters, you can ask Bud, you know, any of them. I bet you it's a car that they own and they don't even know where that car at. Those are called rich people problems.
I did have one of those.
People.
I ain't seen that thing in a minute. What?
Yes, those rich people problems. But if you go ask a man that only got one car, he'll say, "How can you misplace your car?" Yeah, you got the money. We talking about dudes that got multiples of everything. You talking about guys that are taking care of families. Look at some of the NBA guys that have said, "Hey, man, my sisters, my brothers, and my mother had ATM cards. We went through $100 million. Look at Antoine Walker, good brother, but helping everybody. He went through over $140 million. Yeah. We're not gonna act like Floyd is the first person talking about this type of money is missing. And when you think about it, I think Mikey was just on last week. I see Mikey on somebody's podcast, and they said, Mikey, explain what $1 million check look like. He broke it down. $1 million check looks like $300,000 in your pocket. So where's the $1 million? Mikey Garcia. Shout out to him because he always give it to the media real. He said $1 million after you get to fold it and put it in your pocket is only 300,000. So we gotta stop getting critique from broke society, critiquing rich society.
Right.
We
You
don't
have no idea.
we don't understand that a wealthy person can file bankruptcy and didn't lose a thing. A broke person can file bankruptcy and the eviction people putting their stuff out front. Two different things. We as an ordinary society, we need to become better educated on financial literacy.
Yes, sir.
If
Yes,
we
sir.
become better literate to how money actually works, we won't base everything solely on money. When we see athletes do stuff at the top of the game, man, he took $40 million in stock options in a business that the team owns because that made it where he actually saw $40 million as opposed to taking $40 million and he only sees 12 million of it.
Right.
We gotta develop, and that's the thing that I'm hoping to do with my son about financial literacy. Any other young boxers or young people that come to me, tell them about financial literacy. I think that's part of the role that we've been missing in managers. Managers in boxing, financial literacy goes as far as the check they have to get from you as the fighter. I've never heard the manager say, hey, let me show you the best direction to do with your money. Or, hey, I'm investing in this. I can get you in with $20,000. That's the piece that we're missing. Every major sport, they have some sort of financial literacy that they offer to these young men and these young women. So I'm looking at the bigger picture, not just Floyd Mayweather talking about 350 million, because there's a lot of blame to go around when you're talking about that much money. And 9 out of 10 times, the blame goes to the people who smiled in your face the most.
Yeah. I think that's interesting. I don't know, Reyes, if you want to tap in. I mean, when you saw
to me, it's just interesting because I'll be forward with it, Mr. Hackett, for myself. And not that I'm saying you're not, but you know, when I was in the industry, right, I was working with great people like Alan Tremblay, who still to this day is known as one of the, not only a pioneer, he's a Hall of Famer in the boxing, in boxing as a promoter, but just a good man. Everybody wants to work with him because he did things above board. But I saw a lot of things that were not being done above board. And then, as a fan of this sport, I got to watch an entire company pretty much ruin it for mainstream casual fans for a good 10-year period. And more, I'm into Raider Nation, Mr. Hackett, and Raider Nation people are looking to be like, man, Angelo, I don't know why you love boxing so much, bro. Boxing's dead. Boxing will never be alive in the USA again, right? And I would hate that. I would take it personal because it's a sport I love. So when I heard about Floyd Mayweather suing Steven Espinoza, started thinking in my head, is this possibly connected to a whole PBC issue that I watched PBC pretty much drive the American consumer out of wanting to watch boxing. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm looking at things like, why haven't I seen the Charlos come back? Why isn't Errol Spence back in the game when there is so much money to be played around with in terms of Turkey Allah Sheikh? How come Caleb Plant is at the Apex? Is he signing with Dana White now? Is he going to Zuffa? Am I going to see more of these other fighters going to Zuffa? And I'll end it with this, Clay. I'm watching the Sebastian Fundora Thurman fight and Thurman press conference, and it's dark, bro. The lighting wasn't great. There wasn't a lot of people there, and I'm half wondering, is that fight going to happen on March 28th? Is there actual funding? Because I know there's not going to be a lot of people paying $80 on Amazon Prime to watch Fundora fight Keith Thurman, and the only other fight you got lined up for me is Frank Sanchez versus Richard Torres on the undercard as a co-main event. Mr. Hackett, I'm sorry. The Zuffa boxing on Sunday to me would have been far more worth paying $80 if we're going to play that game. And I got that for the total price of $8.99 for the entire month while watching Landman and Mobland. And Yellowstone.
Shout out to Landman. Shout out to Mobland.
So the economics has changed for me, Mr. Hackett, and I'm all about the fan base. So when I saw that, Clay, I'm wondering. I'm throwing it out there, but I feel like you wanted to respond to what I was saying, Mr. Hackett.
No, I think you're right. I think what Zuffa is actually doing, that whole superstar team, like I told you, I think they have an all-star team. And, you at the helm, you have Dana White, you have Turki Al-Sheikh. They're on the same side. I was laughing with some of my buddies a while back when we were talking about potentially going there. And I said that Turk and Dana White, giving it a little bit of time, they actually have the ability to make a real Super Six. Because if you think about it, the only two people who are funding boxing cards is the Turk and Jake Paul. They don't want. Nobody else is fun. Everybody else in boxing, Top Rank, PBC, Golden Boy, blah, blah, blah. All of them are like the early 90s when you started hearing about all these independent black record labels. Death Row, Rough Riders and all of those. When they popped up, they only got distribution deals. When they got those distribution deals, Interscope or whoever was distributor said, show me you worth putting money in.
Right.
Whereas in the beginning of this, in the PBC beginning and all of that, they said these records have potential to make 100 million. So give me 100 million. And now that's gone away. The only person who can make the real Super Six, and this is just my idea what the real Super Six is, because they're telling you that the Zuffa title is a Zuffa title that puts you in line to be in the top 10 in Ring Magazine. But you still got to get to the Super Bowl, which is Riyadh. Now, can you imagine the way that their imagination is working over there? They're telling all of them, we're the new distributor. You all give us fights that we think make sense. Look, PBC, you don't want your guys to do them but fight your guys? The hell with it. Y'all got the WBC belt. Bob Arum, you just want your guys to fight their guys? You got the WBO belt.
BO, right.
The WBO. Matchroom, you the same way. Here's the WBA and, all the belts. And then we need one more to make it a Super Six. IBO, you make mandatory fights, we'll put you on the same level. Now you really do have 6 titles. Each one of those companies can create their star. They can do what they want. And then Ring Magazine, which is Turki Al-Sheikh, he can say, these are the top 6. I don't even need 10. These are the top 6. You hold one of those belts, you're the guy. Your own companies can do what they've been trying to do their side of the street, and they create their own top 10. But now those 6 will have to fight in a tournament amongst each other to see who is the ring champion. And the final 2 fight in Riyadh. Somebody's going to have 3 belts. The other one's going to have 3 belts. The winner becomes the ring champion. After that, the ring rankings say who gets the shot at all 6 belts. They'll never be broken up again.
No, I love it. I love it, Coach.
And that's what I see what they can do. Because everybody
Coach,
eating off their money.
Yeah, facts. I think it's about the new way of doing things. It's a business model, right? And just I guess dialing back a little bit to the Keith Thurman, Sebastian Fundora, that model seems to be outdated now. And it seems to be being received that way, right? As a boxing fan is evolving, right? As things are evolving in the space, the delivery model is evolving. It's gone from the pay-per-view model and it's laid on these streaming platforms now. And you're seeing it with what Zuffa is doing with Paramount, and even with the way they modify things with the Zone. You're seeing them trying to move with the wave. That seems to be outdated, though. What's going on between Sebastian Fundora, Keith Thurman doesn't seem to be getting the track behind. It doesn't seem to be building traction. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Keith Thurman. I don't know if you guys sort of post the press fight conference, but he did his dangs. He tried to sell that, and I appreciate it. He really tried. He threw the shirts out into the 10, 12 people that was out in front of him asking him questions. He threw shirts out there. He tried to troll and antagonize the big Sebastian, the Towering Inferno, but at the end of the day, it just felt like it just didn't land right. It just landed flat. So
they don't have the personalities for it. To me, I think
Right.
Sebastian Fundora is a monster. I love watching him and his sister fight, but he has a Wall Street personality.
Right.
Keith Thurman, I think sometimes Keith will dress like Wall Street, but try and be over the top, and it doesn't balance out when you see it. So that kind of will kind of run you away because it doesn't give you that appearance or that feel of it. But when it comes to that model, I think that model might be done to a 90%, but it is still people like, I think it's a model that's made on
Yeah.
You got a certain level of fight that lives up to a Rolls Royce level that you can say people gonna pay for. Bud Crawford, Canelo, that was Rolls Royce. Bud Crawford, Earl Spence, Rolls Royce. But every fight is not a Rolls Royce. The thing that makes Rolls Royce beautiful and exclusive is they're a handmade car. It ain't but so many of them made. The thing that makes Toyota affordable, they make thousands of them. You gotta look at boxing in the same way. The average fight is just to build a fighter's fan base.
Yeah.
But every fight is not the fight where you put something mega on and you think people are gonna pay for it. That doesn't make sense. And with the Turk and Dana, it seems like they understand people who have been watching football since the dawn of football time, and you never had to get pay-per-view to see the Super Bowl.
That's true. Amen to that.
Yeah. It used to be special. The pay-per-view used to be for something special, like you said, handmade. It used to be reserved for the most elite, for the most, just like you said, handmade, custom made, custom fit, great era-defining fights was on pay-per-view, and people would come out because they've been waiting on it. It culminated to the pay-per-view, right? The pay-per-view used to have stories, and it used to make sense when it came to the big show. Like, finally, we're getting this thing that we've been waiting on, that's been building. This fighter's been fighting this fighter. This fighter's been fighting that fighter. Boom, boom, bap, bap. Shit's been moving around, and finally we get the big fight. It is what it is. But good luck to Floyd Schofield. Good luck to everybody involved.
Floyd Mayweather, man. Stop saying Schofield.
I mean, Floyd Mayweather.
Stop it, bro. What are you doing?
Trust me, I have no idea. But Floyd Mayweather, good luck to Floyd Mayweather and everybody in that situation. I want to continue to move the needle a little bit and segue into the next thing, which seems to be making headlines right now. Shakur Stevenson coming off of a great performance this weekend, obviously taking his place, his rightful place on the pound-for-pound list, and everybody seems to be getting over to the side of, man, this kid is finally, he is the elite that he's been saying he was. A lot of hardcore fans probably been known that, but that fight was the signature fight for him, his first signature fight, in my opinion, to where he just showed levels. And listen, man, good things come to an end, I guess, or good times last as long as it's gonna last. Here we are. We wake up in the morning yesterday morning, and Mauricio Suleiman strikes again.
Diabolical.
Strikes again because I do think the way he's been moving as of lately has been questionable. I don't know. I don't know. But the WBC strips him of his title. Some might say hours, but let's say 2 to 3 days after his fight.
He paid already.
And he paid, and clearly surprised by it. So clearly no conversation, no understanding, no communication to Shakur about what he would look to expect on the back end of that victory. And the place is once again looking at these sanctioning bodies, questioning the way that they move, questioning the way that they run things, and it just brings more light against Mauricio Suleiman, brings the attention and puts the WBC in the crosshairs of public scrutiny. What did you see, Coach Hackett, and what do you think about that move?
Now, I definitely saw, bits and pieces of it. They stripped him of the belt at 135, correct?
Yeah, but he paid for it.
Not the one at 140.
Correct.
I'm gonna say I probably have the worst take on it if people want to ask my opinion. I think whenever you designate that you are stepping up to a new weight class, if you win the title at the new weight class, That should be a foregone conclusion. Automatically, they strip you. Why should they allow you to hold up potential other fights for titles until you make your decision what weight class you're going to be in? They should let you know before. You should be able to make the distinction beforehand. If I win this title at 40, I'm going to vacate it and go back to my 35 title. If I lose this title at 40, I'm going back to campaign, and we can make sure that we have my definitive word that I'm going to face my mandatory. That ends all of that. If you do that, I don't think it's wrong. I think what's wrong is at the times when they let popularity dictate what happens. If you're popular enough, they'll let you hold 4 belts, but in 4 different weight classes. But if you're not popular enough, they want to remove it from you as soon as possible. It's just the standard rules across the board. If you can put a ruler against the line that they set, and we all agree that the ruler is straight, then that line should also be straight. If the line is crooked, we're not going to blame the ruler. We're going to change the line. That's what I think.
Coach, I'm there with you, right? And I think the main thing that I'm there with you on is the consistency. Be consistent across the board.
With everybody.
And it doesn't raise eyebrows if you do that. I think that's one thing that makes the IBF credible, right? Although they're one of the top sanctioning bodies that strip people of their titles, right? Like if you don't meet a certain criteria, you don't defend against a mandatory, they'll take your belt off you. They don't, but the consistency removes them from the scrutiny because it's like we know that they do it across the board. But I think the WBC has earned themselves a reputation for being inconsistent. That they'll allow a Jamal Charlo to sit in hiatus for about 2 years and allow him to be a champion in the division. They'll allow Canelo Alvarez to hold on to a title and never fight the mandatory. They'll allow
Ryan Garcia to all of a sudden be the #1 mandatory for a title.
He's fighting, right? They'll bring Manny Pacquiao in and throw him at #1. They'll take I can go down forever. They'll take Errol Spence.
Oh no, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
Put him at #1 in the WBC to fight Sebastian Fundora, right? So he seems to always find a way to put himself in a position where his belt is involved in fights that make him money. Did the same thing with Stephen Fulton. I'm having a brain fart today. Stephen Fulton and O'Shaquie Foster, right? This guy blows weight, doesn't make weight for the championship fight. No problem. We'll move it up to the next weight class, and let's put a WBC interim title on the line. So on top of all that, after I say all that, the cherry on the top is definitely stripping Shakur Stevenson.
But let me be the devil's advocate. In order for a governing body to make money, they have to have people wear their belts. That's just the only way they make their money. And once again, I look at my homeboy, my city guy. When Lamont Roach stepped in the ring to fight Pitbull Cruz, the minute he stepped in, he was stripped.
Right.
We didn't get any major backlash for him being stripped. Soon as he stepped in the ring, he was stripped. You know, my thing is, and that wasn't a WBC belt. You know, I just look at it like a job. If a job wants you to think like we're all family because you work harder for family, but the job will always think like a job. So when it has to fire you, it just fires you. Are we wrong for thinking like we're family as opposed to thinking like the business? Or is the business wrong for thinking about the business?
Okay.
We can't get mad at Bud when he thought like business and refused to pay Suleiman. We can't get mad at Bud. Because if that's the case, we want him to think like we family, but it's all right for the company to think like we company. Nah, we can't do that. If these guys start thinking like they companies and they start treating the business the way the business treats them, then nobody will ever become enemies. We'll shake hands. And I got backlash from a lot of people. I think me and Rez even talked about it a little bit. We lost our fight in Puerto Rico. No matter how we feel about it, how I feel, I'm just saying my son does it. When we said we wanted to fight Xander Zayas, we got backlash for that. But if you look at Jalil's last 5 opponents, they're 79-12. That's their record, last 5 opponents. But then we saw Ryan Garcia's last 5 fights, what was it? 2 losses, a DQ, and a win. But he automatically is getting no backlash for getting ready to fight Barrios for a belt that he never even fought in that weight class for, and they automatically make it. So it's like we gotta have the same outrage at the lowest level of what these title fights do, just like we have it at the biggest level, because the guys at the biggest level ain't the ones getting shafted. It's the guy at the smallest level. He's the one that needs the speak out. He's the one that needs you to see the mediocrity in what they do, not the biggest guy. That guy making $20 million gonna make that 20 million regardless. It's that guy that's trying to fight for his first million.
I want to take a moment. I want to pass it to Reyes, right? But I want to read this on here real quick.
Yeah.
I thought this was very important. Shout out to my other co-host, Ray Davis. You know what I'm saying? He says the whole thing is Kerr did all that and said he would only not do that if they make the fight with Conor Benn at 147. He says the WBC clearly forced their hand asking for money and they never sanctioned a fight. And I agree with him on that, right? I feel as if Shakur did, because you spoke earlier about the intentions being clear so that they don't do those things. I think Shakur did make his intentions clear. He said he had plans on, he was just going to do this. It was going to be a one-off, that he was going to beat Teofimo. He had plans on coming back to 135, you know what I mean? That he's a true 135 pounder. He was just doing this fight because it was a signature, big, legacy-defining, obviously a big payday fight. He took the opportunity. I don't know. I feel there's grace allowed when we're talking about this sport. There should be grace, and I think the grace for Shakur Stevenson inside of 48 hours, it was none given. And if it was going to be given to him, or if it was going to be strict that way, I feel like maybe it should have been more clearly communicated to Shakur. All right, listen, man, we're going to let you do this, but I'm going to let you know if you win the fight and you become champion, this is how we plan on moving. Why should Shakur be caught off guard that way to get, you know what I'm saying, after paying his fees and everything like that? And then it looks weird because Terence obviously is butting heads with the WBC, and it's like that close relationship with Terence to Shakur.
It hurt him. It hurt him.
Optics. The optics.
No, I'm cool. I'm cool with that saying it hurt him, because it really did hurt him. Your allegiances do hurt you at times. They really do. But I will also say this: in the ring, he definitively called out Conor Benn for 47.
That's true.
So what are we talking about 35 when he said, give me the same thing and I'll fight you at 47?
Right.
So that's telling me right there that you had no intention of going back to 35. If you're talking about make it happen, get your promoter in here and we'll fight at 47. That's kind of now we're kind of putting the same criteria in mind, butting heads with each other. So on one hand, they should let him hold the belt, give him a grace. On the other hand, you're about to let him hold up the belt if you're saying I'm gonna let you go up to 47 and fight. And if he beats him at 47, ain't no way in hell he going back down to 35. You don't build your body up to tear it down 2 weight classes. I can see 1, but not 2 weight classes. You're tearing your body down.
Well, arguably, right? Arguably. Javante was about to go up to 190 pounds, 165, say whatever he was going to come waning in the fight.
Why didn't they strip him? Right.
And I'll say this. That was in a fight that was against a social media guy. Wasn't going to be at any time, I don't care what nobody say, a sanctioned fight. And that would have been a out-of-shape Gervonta Davis. That would not have been an in-shape Gervonta Davis. So once again, it would have came with stipulations. So if that's the case, that's different. But in the same essence, I would have had to require him to come back and fight at his weight class definitively in contract in a time frame. Not take this fight and work your way back down. I just don't think it didn't work for Roy when he tore his body down coming from heavyweight back to light heavyweight. It just doesn't work tearing your body down. And like I said, a lot of this stuff in boxing is who you like as the fighter. Because one time we'll say one fighter that we don't like, well, he tried to put weight stipulations on him. But then at the same time, Shakur said, give me the same rehydration clause and I'll fight you at 47. I'm going to tell you like this. I'm going to be honest with you. If it's my son, I'll use my son. I don't like using nobody else's example.
Right.
If it's a regular fight and they're talking about, okay, if they offered us the Zayas fight, but we would have to go back to 54 to fight him, I'm taking it. I'm taking it.
Okay.
But if they're saying Zayas will fight you, but we got to make the fight at 157, and my son has done 2 or 3 fights at 60, nah. Either you gonna stay in your spot at 54, or you gonna come up to my spot at 60. We not doing none of that. Who gets the better drainage out of the other guy? If I want to fight Xander Zayas and every metric in the world, including the promoters, say they can make it happen, we want it at 54. We want to take what he got. Even if we ain't gonna stay there, we're not letting you hold your belt and we beat you. No, sir. We're gonna beat you, we're gonna take it. And if we want to go back to the 54, back to 60, we're gonna vacate it. Let y'all figure out how to get them back, and we going back to 60. That's just the only this weight draining and all that stuff they talk about with guys. This don't happen if it when in the heyday of boxing in the 80s. You never saw nobody talking about I move up, but if we can have a weight in the middle and you can't get this big. No, if you're a middleweight, you're a middleweight. If you're a welterweight, you're a welterweight. Like they said on the playground. If you're a little boy, stay in the little boy's place. When you start barking at dogs bigger than you, you got to be prepared to be bitten or bite back. And that's with no stipulations.
Right. Now, Mr. Hackett, I do want to bring it back, though, again, to the whole, subject of today being bad business. So my cousin, shout out to my cousin who owns Hearn Project, Hearn.project, guys, check it out. Cool ass streetwear fashion. He told me, I gave him a glimpse of what the weekend looks like. I said, hey, listen, I'm a boxing aficionado. I'm a pundit of this, so I'm all in. I'm watching, Japanese cards at like 3 a.m, right? That's me. But what he said when I gave him the experience of watching a UK fight in the morning on DAZN and then watching the Puerto Rico and Madison Square Garden and the whole bit, he said for him as a mainstream boxing fan, he has been so confused as to who is what and how do you know who is the best and what do these belts mean that he said to him the Sunday Zuffa boxing card was very simple just because he felt like, I get it. I'm watching a combat sports weekend in where I like both UFC and boxing. It's easy for me to access, and I'm just going to follow those guys because then I know they're just going to go ahead rankings, and it's not going to be confusing. And just like the UFC doesn't confuse me, I'm just going to do that. So there's a mainstream fan who he needs people like us to explain to him what's going on with the WBA, the WBC, and all of this stuff, right? So having said that, and this is coming off the back end of Mauricio Suleiman trying to explain to Ariel Helwani exactly where all these fees goes, right? This also is now we're in 2026 where, as you said yourself, the landscape has changed. There's one man funding the whole thing. And you got Turki Al-Sheikh asking Dana White to go help promote Tyson Fury versus Makhmudov on Netflix, April 11th. He's talking about Fury Joshua will end up being a Dana White promoted Zuffa card, right? And then you also have Paramount Plus in Zuffa. Are we at a point where we should even really be caring now that the WBC, the WBA, the WBO, the IBF are doing these sanctioning fees, and you being in the industry, how do you feel about paying for these damn things? If you had to, right? Because why, Mr. Hackett? You're the one that told me it's all about the ring belt in Turkey. So why are you paying for anything anyway?
If we're in my son's shoes and we're at the point where we are right now, the only 2 belts that matter is Zuffa and ring. If you are a long-term, well-known fighter, then the old system is the system that you should finish your career out with, if it works for you. But for a young fighter, they would be a fool to hope you get lucky, because that's basically what it is. If you look at the old system, and I say old compared to what Zuffa's doing, the old system is a popularity contest. If you have 1 million Instagram followers and 1 million people on Twitter, they will make sure you become a champion. If you only have 100,000, but you'll whoop all their ass. They'll make sure you never see the light of day. That is what I have said a million times in a million different situations. I respect, love, and cherish the fighters that came before my son, the Earl Spencers, the Bud Crawfords, even the Boots. They came before us. Some of those guys invited my son into camp. Some of those guys made him a sparring partner for big major fights, and make sure he had money before he even got to the pros or when he was at the pros in the beginning. I don't look at any of those guys as potential opponents. I want to look at the cowardice fighters of my son's era who say a million different things about fighters, but then they go on Twitter and that's the only place they have a war at. We've said a million times of his era, he is the absolute best. And if you don't agree with it, all you got to do is challenge us to a fight. And now we actually have a promoter who is saying, if you want to fight my dog, it ain't hard to fight my dog. It ain't hard. And you still don't see these guys saying a single word. So what they're doing is exposing their guys. Dana White is saying, I want guys that can fight. I want guys that want to fight. I don't want guys that want to hide behind Twitter. We disrespected the four kings. And I say that as clear as that is. The four kings were Thomas Hearns, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran. We disrespect them every time we call any other four kings, and the four people have not fought each other.
Facts.
That is completely disrespectful to those men, because I've seen these different pictures that show those four with their records, but then they show Floyd and three other guys or whoever with their records. That's not even fair to do, because those guys put their records on the line. They all fought each other. You can't give four kings status to four guys in the same weight class, and as close as they came to fighting each other was their thumbs on Twitter.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, like I said earlier, and kind of try to land this and move this because I have another two topics I want to talk about. Just to land it on the fact that consistency makes a difference, and I thought it was exceptional to highlight the idea that if the best is going to fight the best, if that's still going to be consistent, then everything works out okay as far as the sanctioning body, as far as Zuffa is concerned. But the star thing, the popularity thing being aligned with who's the champion at all times gets in the way of the sport evolving. Rolly Romero, will honestly never be, I'll never look at him like a champion. I'm sorry. You understand? I'm just not going to look at you that way. I'm looking at you as somebody who was gifted a belt that was made up in a division you never fought in. And just because you were fighting against Ryan Garcia, the WBA got in there, you became a champion. You didn't beat a champion. You weren't even in the rankings to fight anybody who was in that ranking structure to say that you deserve to be in a championship fight. And as long as the sanctioning bodies continue to move that way, it's going to garner the scrutiny. Boxing needs to grow. There are certain things that go on in the quote unquote old ways of doing things that has messed with the growth of the sport, and it's affected it in an adverse negative way. It's not about anything deeper than that. I know people want to move the needle and move the goal. They still have issues with Dana White being part of this Zuffa thing, and they want to scrutinize on that level. But yeah, man, the structure over at Zuffa looks very promising at a minimum.
Right.
It makes more sense. It's more, it does better for the fighters. It does better for the development of our boxing system in America. And it helps push that conversation forward as far as American boxing being on top of the world again, of us having the best fighters in the world here on the home soil. So that being said, though, I want to move forward to the next topic here. This is one of your favorite fighters here that I'm sure we're about to talk about right now. But there seems to be a new money man in the game, new A-side, the biggest payday in the game, man. His father has always stood on a soapbox and called it from the highest mountaintop that his son was this fighter, right? But there was always contention at it. Really, are you putting the asses in seats? Are you really moving the needle in the pay-per-view numbers? Are you really that guy offering everybody their biggest payday? And it went back and forth, back and forth. But today, you know, ain't nothing like hindsight and real-time data. Maybe there is a real argument right now that Devin Haney may be the money man right now as he's circulating through the space right now. People want to know what his next fight is going to be. He has the cosign of Turkey Al-Sheikh, but people want to see him fight Shakur. They want to see him fight Keyshawn Davis. And even as of late, Xander Zayas has been brought to the table as a potential fight. Now that Xander Zayas has acquired his newfound fame as the youngest unified champion, right, in the world, at 154, holding one of those titles of the unified belts, being that WBO belt. Devin Haney obviously holding the WBO belt at 147. It's making the conversation very interesting. Keyshawn Davis, just to add to it, says, listen, Lewis Crocker, I have other opportunities, even at 140. Doesn't seem like that's the next fight that's necessarily going to happen. We might have felt a little differently before he made that statement that we thought that fight was going to be on the table. And of course, Shakur's given his reservations on going up that high, but said, listen, if you really want to see it, put a rehydration clause on these guys. I'll fight them, but I want it to be an even playing field. The spaces embrace that one way. You know, they've embraced it. They push back at it. It is what it is. But regardless, the common denominator here is Devin Haney. Seems to be the big payday man. Seems to be the man. I want to know, me and Reyes was talking about it. I think the Xander Zayas fight sounds amazing to me. It's a dangerous fight, but I think this right here adds to the legacy of Devin Haney. I think it makes him undeniable to a certain degree to challenge himself with a young fighter like that. And it might be the right timing for Devin Haney to fight a Xander Zayas, because Xander's kind of on his way out of 154. He looks like he's outgrowing the division. So maybe this is the right time to catch him. He's young. He's just getting his fame. You put somebody like this on your resume, and you get that fourth division under your belt as a unified champion. I like it, but I'm definitely more wondering what you think about the whole entire thing, watching the whole thing kind of turn out. Go ahead, Reyes.
No, before you, and we want you to answer it, Mr. Hackett, but I want you to keep in mind that just recently, Bill Haney called Xander Zayas food. He said he's food for Devin. So now, please, sir, what do you think about Xander Zayas versus Devin Haney?
I like it. I'll say this: if Xander goes up and does it, nothing but respect to Xander. If Devin goes up and does it, nothing but respect to Devin. I personally think that after Devin left, probably after he left 135, realistically, I said the fights with everybody else became even. But once he went to 147, I got Devin beating Keyshawn. I got Devin beating Shakur. I think Charlotte will beat him. I think if anything below 47, they had the advantage. Anything above 47, Devin has the advantage. When it comes to him and Xander, I think Devin has the clear advantage because he's been in the bigger stages. I think Xander is an excellent young fighter, but the thing that I think would equalize it out is if Xander had big pop. Xander doesn't have big punching power. He's not a big puncher. So if I have to compare, I'm going to say Devin Haney is more equipped physically, mentally, and IQ-wise to go 12 and win a decision, as opposed to Xander being physically, mentally, and IQ-wise able to beat him in any other way but a stoppage. If you do the check measurements, Devin is comfortable. He's a comfortable 12-round guy. We don't have any question if he's a comfortable. We're not going to say that. Even after this last performance, Xander started to fade. If we say physical attributes, Xander is getting bigger, but he doesn't look, he's not this super large guy for the division. Devin, if you think about it, for the last 5-6 years, he's been killing himself to make weight. Him and my son looked like they was auditioning for Tales of the Crypt sometimes when they go to the scale. Both of them look like they was auditioning for the Crypt Keeper role.
It looked crazy.
And yeah, they looked like they was about dead. And so that tells me when you're not seeing him look like that now, he's finally maturing into his complete comfort zone in his grown man body. And third, I say that Devin is getting stronger as he's getting bigger physically and with his punch. While Xander, he hasn't changed anything. Xander there hasn't been any great influx to punching or anything of that nature. And so I think that fight would lean more towards Devin Haney winning. I would love, me personally, I would love to see that fight happen. I would love to. Because if there's any type of way that Zuffa was interested, we would actually sweat for either one of them. We would sweat the 54 to fight either one of them. But if either one of them came to 60, we would love to entertain it. Bill, shout out to Bill. And I'm gonna tell you, me and Bill, everybody know me and Bill been going at it for a few years. Everybody knows that. But at the end of the day, let me say this, and I've said it numerous times. I respect Bill Haney for standing on his own too with his son. We're gonna do it our way. We're gonna talk how we talk. Win, lose, or draw, we're gonna still be us. I respect it. And when we fought Elijah Vines. After the fight, I saw Bill Haney in the hotel, and me and him talked, for a minute. And he gave me some good game. He gave me some real good game on some ways to push my son's narrative. And when he gave me those good games, I used it, and it did actually push things forward. And Bill said something to me that I never forget. He said, I like arguing with you. He said, because you understand it's about putting the boys in a position to get the biggest bag. Where the rest of these people talk about fighting me. He said, I ain't no fighter. He said, I am not. I said, Bill, I ain't fighting you. I'm 50-something years old. I ain't fighting you. I said, we're gonna talk about these kids fighting. And he said something to me that I respect him for. He said, you put yourself in position and we'll fight you. And Devin ain't been scared to fight nobody his whole career. So I really respect both of them, Devin and Xander, because I really do think that they'll make those fights. And think about this. How old is Devin Haney? Devin's like 26.
27.
27. When you think about the Keishans, the Shakurs and all of those guys, they damn near 30. Devin started early, just like Jalil. So they're put in an age bracket that they're not in. Devin physically hasn't hit his prime yet. If they say 28 to 34 is your prime, this kid still ain't hit his prime. Yeah. So he's one of the ones I would still love to fight. But the rest of those guys, by the time those fights even come about, them dudes will be 33, 34. Jalil only be 25. Then they'll give a new excuse. So my thing is this. If you listen to how Bud and some of the elder statesmen talk about, you'll bring enough money to the table for me to fight. I respect them for that. So you got to respect the next rotation. Stick with the guys of your era. And Devin doing it.
I like that.
Devin doing it. Yep. Devin doing it. He's doing it at such a pace.
Yeah.
Him and Bill might mess around and be light heavyweights.
Listen, I like the fact that the thing you said about the era, I like stay in your era, which is why with the WBC Shakur situation, I'm just looking at the WBC and, obviously I'm scrutinizing Mauricio Suleiman with the way he moves, but I also feel like, Shakur, you looked real good at 140. What are you going to do at 135? You're going to fight Floyd Schofield. You're going to fight Abdullah Mason. You're going to fight, a bunch. They're not in your era. That's not your generation. That's food. That doesn't intrigue us. Your guys are here at 140. Some of them are floating at 147. This seems to be the place that you should be at. I want to bring in my guy Ray Davis though, because he's just popping up, and I know he's just jumping in late, but he's a Devin Haney connoisseur. You know what I mean? As far as
Shakur and Devin, I
Shakur and
rock
Devin,
with both of them.
With Devin,
He's a Devin Haney connoisseur, y'all.
Yeah, exactly.
God.
Right. I
Yo,
mean,
y'all
like, I'm telling
crazy.
you,
Y'all
this
crazy.
guy's got a DHP jumpsuit in his car.
Yeah.
I know he has one. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But no, I would feel
I'm
remiss
just
not
kidding.
to allow him to tap into this conversation and share some perspective over this whole thing. And by the way, once again, we'll go to Reyes after this one, but I'm making it clear. This is the fight for me right now. I don't care. I want to see this fight more than any other fight. Go ahead.
And I remember us talking about it last night, and you heard the noise in the streets over, and you were like, man, everything else, throw it out the window. This is it. And I kind of was with you with that, right? Because I'm saying it's good for us to push this fight because this is actually where we're going to see a test, right? I think Devin, as Coach just said, we see, like, I don't think there's no one that wants to fight him. He's not a boogeyman, but just no one wants to take on the smoke at 147 that has a title. Only people that want it are the up and coming. He just mentioned, why does Devin have to go backwards to go forward? And it's kind of weird, right? He's not in a situation where, like you were saying, like Shakur has other belt holders down there. If he did go back to 135 and he was still WBC champion, those guys are younger. Like, he's got to get him while he's green. Okay, that's fine. But they have belts. They have something he wants. Nobody has anything he wants that's coming up that's calling out for Devin, except for Rolly and these guys. And they're all the same age group. So as you move forward, what else are you going to do? You're going to challenge yourself. And why? If I want to challenge myself and move up, I'm going to go for the guy that is the number one guy, which is Xander Zayas right now. He's a guy with 2 titles. He's number 1 in the division, in my opinion. He's far more of a boxer than anyone else in that division. So he's going to make an excellent opponent. And I think there might be some exposures or things like that he may see in Xander. And I think Xander's game for it. I think Xander has what it takes to hang 10 with Devin, right? So, I mean, it would be an interesting fight to say the least. And at least one guy's going to come out on top. And if Devin challenges himself and loses, guess what? You can't knock him for challenging himself and moving up and weight to present that type of fight. And the same thing for Shakur going up to 147 or staying at 140, which I agree with you 1,000%, Clay. Looks the best I've ever seen him was at 140. He filled in perfectly.
Right.
He was stronger. He didn't look like he had issues with his hands. It just looked like everything gelled for him there. And when you have situations, I love that. You got to send me one, Coach. I want one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I need it. I got a little cart going on right now, so I'm trying to. I haven't pulled the trigger on the cart yet, but the hoodie's definitely there. I'm looking at some things over there, so get ready to see some Zuffa gear on the kid, man. We definitely supporting, man. We definitely supporting, man.
Okay.
Go ahead. Right?
Yeah, man. But listen, there's nothing more like more than I want to see is like these guys, like Coach just said, clearing out your era, right? What is Usyk doing? Usyk called out all the guys in his era. Yes, he was at cruiserweight while these guys were at heavyweight, but he's dismantling these guys at his era. He's pulling one by one. Last guy on the list was Deontay Wilder. He said, "Let's go, let's get it in here." Obviously, that didn't work out, but he's calling them all out, and he's going to sail into the sunset because he has nothing else to give to the boxing community. Because at that point, he's got the younger guys coming up, and they're a danger to him. He knows it. We know it, right? Why risk it for the ticket, right? You're already a champ. Why do I need to go backwards? And I salute you for that. That was an excellent point. And guys, listen, let's make that fight happen.
Yeah. Guys, hit the like button, by the way. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it. Let me pull up the
super chat
here. JD43321 says, "Thank God for this channel." Oh man, you're gonna make me blush. You guys are one of the few people that is objectively covering Zuffa boxing without no bias and political ties. Thank you. Yeah, man. Listen, we gotta support it, and we want to be part of it. We want to be part of the movement. We want to be part of this era, this chapter in boxing, man. And if you don't support it, that's on you, right? I don't got it in me to really sit here and try to convince you to support it. But at the end of the day, man, I like what I see in the dynamic. I like what I see in the system. It makes complete sense to me, man. And I'm going to get behind it, man. We definitely 100%, but especially when we got fighters like Jalil Hackett on there, Robert Mayweather,
Julian Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
We're gonna have Demazian and Van Houter next week, Tuesday. Dmitry Pavlov. A lot of these managers and coaches.
But real quick, just to say that the young fighters, you know what I'm saying, very important I want to be part of getting behind this next generation of superstars that are coming up. You know what I mean? The superstars don't need our help that much. We really enjoying what they're doing as well. We're here for all of boxing, not just for one portion of it. But I genuinely believe that the younger generation of fighters need our support. We need to watch them fight. We need to speak about their fights, bring attention to their fightings, to their fights. If we can interview them, do that. We need to, and I want to be part of that, right? Shakur don't need me. You feel me? Terence don't need me. Those guys, if they come over here, it's 100% blessing. We're gonna love it, but the next generation needs us to push it. American boxing needs us to push it, man. I'm gonna segue to Reyes and let him get at it too. Go ahead, Reyes.
Yeah, no, thank you, and also, thank you for that, JD 4321, because we do, at least for our channel, we do believe that we're pushing all of boxing. We're gonna give you guys the straight truth on both the positives and negatives of boxing. And some of you may not agree to it. And as our co-host Ray Davis said, you don't have to listen to us. It's fine. There's plenty other channels out there you can listen to that maybe vibe with you. But if you are going to listen to us, then you're going to hear the truth coming not just from our perspective. We're going to bring Coach Bernard Hackett in to tell us the truth. A man who has worked with the Mayweather Promotions, Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn, and currently Zuffa Boxing right now. And his truth is not a lie because he's in it. You're not. You in the chat, you're not doing business with them. This man is. So if you don't like what he got to say, then please go on to another podcast. In the meantime, as I always say on the ATP Combat Media, we're here for the mainstream fans. The ones who are not educated on what's going on in boxing. The ones who need to understand, why are we paying sanctioning fees for belts? I didn't even know that a fighter had to do that to win a championship. Last time I checked, they don't pay a fee for the Lombardi Trophy. They don't pay a fee for the Stanley Cup title. They don't pay a fee for the NBA. They don't pay a fee for Zuffa belt. And they don't pay a fee for the Ring Magazine title. So, and the Ring Magazine title, just so y'all know, it's $200,000. Like, it's actually worth $200,000 because they put gold and whatnot in it. So I'm just, thank you for that. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. If you guys want Claymore to continue calling the fights, especially for diabolical pay-per-views that are out there, then the super chats do really help out a lot. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, because I ain't paying for these damn pay-per-views no more.
No, definitely not.
Real quick here,
the prime one.
Mansa Musa, ain't nobody trying to get no job with Zuffa. It's not that serious. You know what I'm saying? You guys, it's okay, right? It's okay to a certain degree, but all the ideas that the reason we speak about Zuffa boxing is so that Zuffa might see me and put me next to Max Kellerman. Bro,
look, bro.
Let me close it out. Let me close out what I'm saying. Let me land what I'm saying, right? We supporting boxing. The negative connotation behind the attention we're giving the newest addition to the space, to the fighters like Jalil Hackett. It seems from your perspective that we're overdoing it. And my argument is that you guys are underdoing it. Right? You guys aren't doing the right thing by the fighters. You're making everything about promotional loyalty and tribalism. You become fanatics of promotional companies and you become haters of billionaires who don't even know your name, couldn't care what you think, and you've allowed the fighters, the young fighters, to catch stray bullets when all they're trying to do is move their career forward. Do you understand? So you're having a hard time wrapping your mind around the concept of supporting the next generation because you're conflicted with the issues you have with millionaires who don't know you exist. And you think it's worth more to criticize the millionaire and the platform than to celebrate and push the fighter forward. This has never been about Dana White. This is actually not even about Zuffa boxing. Yep. It's about Jalil Hackett.
Yep.
Robert Merriweather. Julian
Rodriguez.
All the young fighters. It's about those guys getting their fair share and just due. this ain't about Zuffa boxing and getting no job, and it's not about glazing. It just hurts your insides to hear Zuffa boxing in the same language as good for these fighters. I'd advise you guys, and I'm trying to give you guys, I give you guys a grace. I'm not trying to get into a cuss out battle going back and forth with you, but embrace the young fighters and what it is.
Exactly.
And get off this whole hate Dana White, love Al Heyman, support Oscar De La Hoya, Bob Arum is this. I mean, these people don't care about us. They don't know us. They don't owe us anything, and you're never going to get their attention. And you completely boycotting all these young fighters, it only affects one person, and that's the young fighters who are trying to make it happen, bro. That's it.
Right. And I made a promise to Claymore that I will not address these type of comments, but since you're doing it, Clay, no, bro, no, I'm not. Mr. Hackett, I promise, I'm not going to make it too long-winded. If you're going to take the time to write some, and believe me, Clay, I've been taking it, right?
Right.
First of all, let me explain something to you guys. Do your goddamn research. Yes, I have worked with Dana White in my past, before the transplant, so I know exactly how that company works, and they've done nothing but treat me right. Secondly, I do not currently work for anything that has to do with TKO shareholdings, but I have love for the sport of boxing. And when I watched how they were going to treat my people in boxing, of course I'm going to support it. To this day, I do not have a position. Ray Davis does not have a position. Clay Moraine does not have a position with Zuffa Boxing. The only person that's getting paid from Zuffa Boxing in this entire panel right now is Coach Bernard Hackett, who got a nice little check this last time, right? And should Coach Bernard Hackett choose to wear a Zuffa Boxing hat that he got to be gifted as a part of the package, he could goddamn well wear it. And if you don't like it, then you can go to the other hating channels that don't like what we're talking about. But we have been talking about the truth about boxing, and the truth is the mainstream fans are rocking with Zuffa for $8.99 a month. And if you don't like it, then please turn this channel off. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Clay.
I appreciate it.
I promise that'll be the last time I address these Glazers.
Until I address it, because I'm gonna tell you right now, anytime I go, he probably coming.
Yeah,
right. I mean, like, that's a team effort, right? So I did talk to him just recently about doing it, but you could tell that was pent up. And I felt it. It gave me goosebumps. He had to let y'all know, bro. I ain't gonna lie. It had to be.
Man, do your research about who the people are in the panel before you go spitting your dumbass minds in here, man.
You're crazy, bro. Listen, I just want this real quick.
Can we move the needle a little bit?
Yes, I'd like to.
Okay, we talked about Devin, man, and like I said, I'm here for the Xander's Eyes. Devin Haney.
Yes.
Bill, if you're watching this, that's the one for me, baby. That's the one for me. But hey, man, we waiting on whatever fight you give us, right? But that one right there, that one's tickling a little spot in my spirit. It's sizzling in my spirit a little different than the rest of them. I want to talk about 126 real quick, because about that time to land the plane soon. Nick Ball, Brandon Figueroa are going to figure it out. Nick Ball defending his WBA title this weekend in the UK. But more importantly for me, man, listen, I'm not shy to tell you guys, I'm a big Shu Shu Carrington supporter.
Woo!
He had a great performance this weekend, picked himself up a WBC title. I've been looking at 126 for a year and a half right now, and I've been waiting for Bruce to arrive. And did he ever arrive on Saturday? What a 5-punch combination that is going to be infamous, unfortunately being shadowed underneath Big Baby's toupee. But in reality, that was the moment. That was the moment for me on that card. What do you guys think about my guy Shu Shu making his way over to the UK, sitting outside that ring and getting that winner? Big Ball, finally getting a unified champion.
Yeah, let me go first, Clay. I want to just say that Shu Shu Carrington, bro, we absolutely love that you showed your heart in the ring. It's a great moment for all of us to see your raw emotions, man, to win the world title at home in front of your people, the tears, like, I mean, everybody was with you, man. So we're so proud. 126, Clay, you, me, Ray, we talk about this all the time. I'm sure Mr. Hackett will say the same thing, that 126 is such a tough division to call and say who's the best. We're just happy that we're actually seeing a Nick Ball versus Brandon Figueroa, who was a former world champion. It looks like we're in the trajectory of seeing best versus best. Hopefully, Turkey. Hopefully,
Turkey,
best
don't let us down,
best.
baby.
Yeah,
don't let
please.
us down.
You know, we know that there's Rafael Espinoza, Angelo Leo, right? Shu Shu's in the picture now, and there's other youngsters, right? Your Mirko Cuellos that are going to be coming up. So thank you for seeing it. But yeah, man, I'm sorry, Mr. Hackett. I like Shu Shu a lot. Shout out to the people that did your trunks. Did you know, guys, that they had them Swarovski jewelry, diamonds in the shoe? That is so cool, man. That is so cool.
I was literally telling people that they allowed them to customize the trunks a little bit, which is sweet. I was like, yo, that's dope. And then the fact that they added blue, I hope they're adding gray like your hat, and they're adding maybe red and green, because that's just going to give us more things to like about them. Because they all look basic, and I was like, yo, y'all crazy, y'all just hating. Now I just want to tap in on it before I really go into the Shu Shu thing. I just love the fact that everyone loves Pro Box because a lot of the fighters from PBC go over there, right? Everyone loves Pro Box. What's so much of the difference between Zuffa and Pro Box? Not much, right? Only thing is that you have one that's in a broader scale. Like YouTube is free, obviously you can go on YouTube, you can plug in, but a lot of people don't even follow Pro Box enough to find Pro Box. Zuffa is holding UFC events. So I'm sorry, Paramount. So when you go into Paramount, you're going to see the advertising. You're going to see all this stuff for Zuffa. So listen, shout out to Zuffa. They got a bigger and grander scale, and they're going to move forward. And they got some great ass boxers on there, including the one Greg. I'm sorry. I almost said Greg Hackett. Sorry, that's a distant cousin. My bad, Bernard.
Shout out to Greg Hackett. I'm
little Hackett.
You guys are related. I don't care what you say, Coach.
Your little Hackett.
That's got to be a second or third cousin. We got to look into that. You got to look deeper. Don't just dismiss it, Coach. Something there.
Greg's my man.
Yo, so but Jalil Hackett, you know what I mean? And like you guys mentioned the other ones, J Rod and them. But listen, at the end of the day, when we get to Shu Shu, right? And this is what I like about Shu Shu. He has such a great window to look at, right? So yes, Nick Ball, Figueroa is probably the fight to take, but at the same time, you still have an Angelo Leo who's sitting there. He's going to have a fight, I think, soon. And then we have I think the monster of the division, the guy who I think is probably the scariest and most dangerous, is Rafael Espinoza. In my opinion, get that guy out the way right now, because if you don't, that's going to be your most troublesome fight, because you don't want to go in there because you beat the other champions. And I think Shu Shu can definitely beat all the guys that either get the belt or retain the belt. No problem. I think when it gets to that Rafael fight, that's going to be his toughest challenge. And I don't want him to go in there thinking that all the champions are the same, because that can overwhelm you sometimes. I mean, we've seen it happen with other fighters. We've seen, and I'm going to throw this out there, Earl Spence thinking that because he dominated the division with other champions that Bud was going to be the same fighter. And Bud showed him something different. So, and he was, and everyone said it, Bud was the worst one. Get him while he came up. Don't wait. And they waited, and look what happened. So, yeah. So I think Shu Shu need to really look more closer into Espinoza, get that guy off the chessboard, and then move your pieces to the other guys, I think, a little bit lighter, because that will be the way to go. But I'm not mad at the Nick Ball fight. I'm not mad at the Figueroa fight. I think those are really good, capable fights and great contests.
Let me just hit the super chat and then I'll pass it right over to you, Coach. Sam from Jersey supporting the channel with $10 says, salute to the chat and the channel. I'm late to the live, but showing love. Replay gang. Man, I appreciate the love, man. Thank you. Coach, man, talk to me about 126, man. I need my guy Bruce to get in the mix, man. He got him a belt, man. Respect my guy Bruce.
Well, I think if I was if I'm the fan, I agree with Ray all day long. I'm the fan. If I'm on the business with Shu Shu, I'm telling Shu Shu we look at the Nick Ball fight, because I think Nick Ball is gonna win. I like that fight, but I do think Nick Ball is gonna win. I think he's fighting a great opponent, but he doesn't fight tall. He fights small. And I've never seen where it fared well for the tall guy to get little to fight a little guy. So I think Nick Ball will win that fight, if not by a knockout, by a unanimous decision. One of the two. And I think that'd be the best fight. If I'm looking at it from the business standpoint, Espinoza gonna be my last fight. Because you can look at it from the standpoint of let me get Espinoza first. But if you get Espinoza first and he's the monster of that 4, you might not get a second and a third. He may be too big, too strong, and talent might not get you through what I would perceive what would be a war. Because I think Espinoza knows the way for me to win is a war. I'm not going to try and box him. We're going to make it a war. So I would do that as my last fight. I would make sure I pick up the $2 million I can pick up from fighting Ball and beat him. Pick up another $2 million when I fight the next champion and beat him. Now I got 3 of the belts. I just picked up my first one. Step 1, that was his shoots and ladders. He passed it with flying colors. He got it. He got his M. He'll get his second set. Beat Nick Ball, get you 2 more M's. Pick up your third belt. You probably get 4 M's. Now in the undisputed, he's the definite A side. And just based on how Turkey has been doing, he's the only one that can put on those type of fights. He might just see 5 to 7. He might see 5 to 7 million, as opposed to seeing 2 million to fight a $5 to $7 million monster. At the end of the day, it's 3 champions. I'm going to pick my 3 champions in the shoots and ladder progressive money way, as opposed to going after the Espinoza fight. Now, say he gets 2 million for an Espinoza fight and he beats him, but did it take too much out of him to where he loses to Nick Ball? I think that's where you gotta play.
That's where I'm at with it too.
Yeah, I'm with that. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, and I think Turkey is involved in that, and it makes it more feasible. It's a bigger payday. I think it gives you an opportunity to get on a bigger stage. And it's so funny because Riyadh season normally isn't a packed out building, right? It's not like 50,000 people. For such a intimate affair, it still adds up to be the biggest stage in boxing, right? Not that you know, does that make sense? Like, it's an intimate, small thing, but it's still the biggest stage in boxing.
Yeah, it's the Rolls Royce.
It's the Rolls Royce.
Right. It's for connoisseurs. It's a high level. I think every fighter in the space. Clearly, you guys, with Bernard Hackett and his fighter Jalil and Son, but all the fighters, when you speak to them, are talking about the goal is Riyadh, right? Yeah. There's an understanding of what the big picture is, and I think Bruce has an opportunity to be on that big stage, get a big payday, and walks away with being a unified champion on the back end of a victory, and that just leverages his ability to move forward with the other belts and every other opportunity in the division. It feels like if I was in Bruce's team, I'd be like, get the passport, pack the bags, take your girl, get your dad. We're going to get you some front row seats out there, you know what I'm saying, in London. And I need you to be out there staring at Nick Ball when he gets his hand raised, like, now that you're done with the young bull, can we handle grown folk business? Can we handle grown folk business?
But ain't it something how that whole concept using Shu Shu, he showed you where I did the regular promoter route. I did the regular fights. I did the Zuffa level fights. Then he got his ring opportunity. He becomes a champion. Now he's looking to play in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Right.
Let me tell you, Riyadh, Ring, Turkey Al-Sheikh, Dana White have given you a goal or a platform. So now the regulars who say, who is the champion? They can actually look, hey, I like these contenders. Hey, this guy fought on the Matchroom card. This guy fought on the Zuffa card. This guy fought on Golden Boy. This guy fought on Top Rank. This guy fought on Matchroom. I like them. Now, I saw my favorite Matchroom guy, who was the number 1, against the best Zuffa guy in a ring card. I saw that guy win. And now he's the guy in the ring. But now I also have an interest in seeing the guy for PBC versus the Top Rank guy, because I know those winners will fight each other and they'll be half of the final for the ring belt at this division. at Riyadh. They actually give you a direction. Boxing never had a direction. It was the Wild West. Whatever your big promoter was who could get the fight, that's what you got. So it wasn't the best versus the best. It was the best versus a good enough for today. Some of our best fighters that we say to Hall of Fame, or we say, I don't know, it's because they didn't have a legendary dance partner. This way, no matter what the two fighters are that make it to the Riyadh season for a ring belt at whatever weight class, because they went through the processes, both of them are the best at the division at that time. When Andre Ward won the Super 6, you were not unsure of who was the best super middleweight in the world. You were not unsure. You knew he was the absolute best.
Right. Or the Muhammad Ali, remember the Muhammad Ali trophy when Inoue won it. Muhammad Ali trophy when Usyk won it. Like they did an actual, these are the guys. So I love that analogy, Mr. Hackett, that we're in a Super 6 kind of series.
This is the new era. This is the new era. And once again, we're going to get fights that we didn't expect to get if that Super 6 era becomes the way that it's going. And that's just my vision. I see that that's being the thing. Because then will Keyshawn move up when he's one of those 6 guys, knowing he could possibly have to fight Shakur? If they both stay in the Super 6 tournament and they both make it to the finals, do you get Keyshawn versus Shakur in Riyadh season? Because I'm telling you this, nobody that didn't come out the same mama's womb is going to turn down the checks that they could get to fight each other in a Riyadh.
That's true.
Even if you got the same daddy, if you came out different mamas, y'all gonna fight. But if y'all came from the same mama, that's the only way that ain't happening.
We're gonna get this money.
We gonna get this money. Because one thing you ain't heard about Turk,
it's gonna be an interesting conversation. But we don't have a conversation.
Because we can't be friends if you stop me from getting 20 million. We cannot be friends at that point.
Right.
Hey, Chuck Liddell, just a throwback, went through the same situation with Tito Ortiz. I'm sure that Reyes Boxing, maybe everybody else knows, but do you remember when Chuck was like, if that's the case, bro, I don't want to be your friend, bro.
Right.
Don't tell me I can't be a champion and get my payday because it's gonna mess our friendship up. If that's the case, let's get that check out of here.
And what's funny is I'll tell you in current events right now, and Mr. Coach Hackett's a big UFC guy too. Is currently right now those guys that are fighting each other are friends. They're like, I do want to fight you, and let's make that happen. Because just like in the old glory days of boxing, those guys knew each other. It was not a unknown story that Joe Frazier was trying to help out Muhammad Ali. Right? Everybody knows. Because the way you made your money, even Sugar Ray Robinson would talk about this, is you're insulting the other person if you don't give him a chance to fight, because that's how he put food on the table for his family. And I'm talking about the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. So the fact that we ended up in this weird era of, I should fight you because you my mandatory, but that doesn't make that nobody's in it for it anymore. So I'm so happy that you said that, Mr. Hackett. Go ahead, Clay. I was just gonna read one of the questions, but go ahead, Clay.
Okay, I wanted to. Is it this one?
No. It's the one right before.
Okay, I want to answer this one. JR, you're my guy, right? But I have a simple answer for that. It gives you 30. Yep. I mean, listen, man, it's math, baby. You know what I'm saying? What does 20 million mean? He says, what does 10 million do for you if you already have 20? It gives you 30.
But I like it. I like his listen. I like his question. Okay. I like his question. Let me tell you why. That's a great question. And this is what we talked about earlier. Financial literacy. If your favorite fighter made $10 million, he made $3 million. He did not make $10 million. He made 3. So if you ask your favorite fighter, what does the 20 do to him? he's going to be honest and says it gives me 10. My 7 plus my 3 gives me 10. So when you speak about that legacy money, every time this guy gets a 10, but it's really a 3, he still has to do that 3 more times to get the 10 of legacy. Because remember, in the economy that we live in now, it is so expensive to own a home to where people are thinking that $1 million for a home is the average going price.
Right.
And if it takes you 30 years to pay for that home, and it took you 30 years to save up the down payment, you're gonna be 60 to 70 when you pay it off. At this rate, you will pay your house off, you will put money up, you will have your kids' education fund, and then you will start building on what the legacy money is. So the difference between 10 million and 20 million is actually legacy, because we do have regular working people who make $1 million plus a year and they're paying monthly bills.
Yep.
Right. No, what the reason why I wanted to read this question, Clay, the one right before it, is I feel like, again, we're catering more and more to the mainstream.
By the way,
the
before you go,
fans. Yeah.
Go ahead and answer the question and then land the plane, because you already know.
No, I'm not going to answer it, because the question is, why do the governing bodies, the WBA, the WC, IBF, charge fighters from them belts, right, to get their belts? And I believe this is someone who's in the mainstream space, like hey, I'd like to get more information, which is what we're trying to speak to. So why not ask someone who's actually currently in it? Coach Hackett, you have actually fought for these belts with your son Jalil, winning the youth WBC. He also won the WBA International, right? So could you explain it to us, sir, and to the mainstream fans out there? Why do fighters have to pay sanctioning fees for any of these titles?
Okay. The sanctioning organizations don't back any particular fighter. So the only way that they make their money is by charging the sanctioning fees. These are nonprofit organizations who have figured out the value of their belts. The belts for a young fighter may be the way that a young fighter develops his fan base and actually propels himself to the big money fights. The belts to the big money fighters is the biggest robbery they've ever seen, because they already have the name and they have the fan base to where they're wondering, why am I still paying for this? And the checks change. Example, if you're a WBC guy and they're telling you that you have to pay them 6%, 3%, and you're paying that on 100,000, I ain't tripping at all. Hey man, tell Jalil, get him their money. But when you tell a fighter you're giving up 6% or 3% based on making $30 million, we have a problem, Houston. We have a major problem. And remember this. Tell everybody, sanctioning fees and bill payment come out of the gross, not the net. So before you pay Uncle Sam, they want you to pay them based on your total take home, not your take home after you paid Uncle Sam, your team, your promoter. So that 3% that the governing body tells you is only 200,000 or whatever it is, that's not really the number, because you're taking it off the top, and I have to pay taxes. Even if you get yours first, I have to pay taxes. And if you put yourself in a 31 to 36% tax bracket, just think 36% means every $1 million you're giving up 360,000.
That's right. And there you go, Brian Floyd. Just you answered this question. Put that up, Clay. Brian Floyd goes, there you go. Now I see. That's why Floyd said the hell with those belts.
Correct. 3% or 6% of $100 million is called. The answer to that is vacant. If somebody ever say, what is 6 or 3% of 100 million? The answer is vacant.
Yes, the answer is vacant. I love it. I love it. We could close off with that one right there. I think that one right there puts a cherry on top of it. It's about that time for me. Always, man. Coach, man, I'm expecting you to be a little bit more regular here. It seems like that's what it's going to be. I hope that's what it's going to be. The conversations are that much more interesting. Super cerebral here on the ATP Combat Media Show. It's not for everybody. It's an acquired taste, but if you're looking to get your mental juices flowing, if you're looking to speak on hard topics at times, controversial at times, but some hard truth, and of course, a channel that always supports boxing on all levels, and you probably could find a home here and find a spot. We got plenty of space. Find yourself a seat. You know what I'm saying? We got water in the fridge. We're not serving alcohol here. Sorry, it's not that type of club. But, you know, there's water here. I'm thinking about putting a little a smoothie station over there. You know what I'm saying? We got boxing flowing on the TVs. Make yourself at home. You know, maybe open up a little cigar bar on the back end of it. We're adding to the place. We're adding to the place, and we're trying to get it spiffy for you guys. But come on in, man. We trying to do it for boxing, man. I appreciate all you guys, man. Salute to everybody. Salute to everybody in the building.
Chat right there, Clay. Final super chat.
Yeah, I'm definitely about to grab it. Salute to everybody in the building. Hit the subscribe button right now if you haven't done it. Hit the like button. It helps the channel get to where it needs to be. We always appreciate the color in the chat. Shout out from Sam from Jersey. Say with the $2 says, thank you, Coach Hack, for gracing us boxing fans. And I can't say that enough, man. I can't say that enough, Coach. We really appreciate you here, man. We're trying to build something nice, and I love your contribution to it just by being here, speaking to the boxing space, and appreciating your time, man, because you could be doing a lot of things. Shout out to Jalil too, as well, for popping up earlier.
Yes. No, thank you, Coach. Thank you so much, Coach.
Man, I love what you all are doing. If it's any fans of your show that have any question boxing related, any boxers who say, hey, can I ask a question that could help them guide in their career? Tell them to shoot the questions to you, and the ones that you say, hey, this needs validity, this needs talking about, I'll answer it on the show. I think in order for boxing to be better, we have to actually spread knowledge, because the more people have knowledge, the more insightful and educated people will be.
Yes,
check,
sir.
Check, Mr. Big Blade Bray. I'll get right on it. Man, always trying to improve, man. Always trying to improve the space, man. Thank you guys, man. Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Jello. Thanks, Coach Hackett. Thanks, Jalil. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Subscribe to the channel, like, comment. Until the next one, it's that ATP Combat Media Show. You already know how it is. Right, Reyes? How's it go?
At this point,
we out.
We out.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believe me. Yo, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yo, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the